A very good morning, everyone. I request you all to please switch off your phones or maybe put them on silent mode. And those of all who are seated behind, I request you all to please come forward. So a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the Economic Times. We're delighted to have you all here at the ET Make in India SME Regional Summit, Hyderabad edition. Let's start with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second time ET is hosting the ET Make in India SME Regional Summit in Hyderabad with an aim to delve into the dynamic world of Telangana's MSME ecosystem and highlight its significance in shaping India's economic landscape. The initiative further aims to empower future-ready MSMEs to drive India's vision of becoming a global powerhouse at the India at 100. Telangana, with its 2.6 million MSMEs, has become a thriving hub for innovation and entrepreneurship. The state government has taken numerous initiatives to support MSME growth, including initiatives for finance access, infrastructure development, skill building programs, and ease of doing business. Telangana's attractiveness to business has further facilitated the growth of MSMEs in the state. The Hyderabad edition of the ET Make in India Regional Summit is a celebration of the achievements of these businesses. We hope it's a chance for everyone to share knowledge, to make connections, and get ready to compete globally. The Hyderabad edition of ET Make in India Regional Summit of MSMEs is brought to you by the Economic Times in partnership with Adobe as an associate partner. So once again, a very warm welcome to all of you all our esteemed speakers and our audience. We start with a welcome message from Mr. Ashish Pandey, Principal Correspondent, Economic Times. Let's have him on the dais with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Kanchan. Mr. Jayesh Ranjan ji, IS Special Chief Secretary, Industries and Commerce and Information Technology, Telangana. Mr. M. Srinivas Rao ji, CEO T-Hub, Hyderabad. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the ET Make in India SME Regional Summit's first event in Hyderabad. We are glad to kickstart our summit from Telangana's capital city, which, other than being popular as the city of Nawabs, is a major center for India's technology industry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with this summit, which comprises a series of on-ground events across India, the Economic Times seeks to unlock opportunities, tackle challenges, foster knowledge sharing and networking among the shareholders. The summit's theme, Empowering MSMEs, Driving India's Century of Sustainable Growth, gives a broad sneak peek into what is all to follow in today's event. Just for some context, I'm putting some numbers here. MSMEs employ 40% of India's workforce, contributing over 40% of output and 40% of the exports. Notably, India's youngest state, Telangana, has done well in creating opportunities for small businesses, MSMEs. The official data show that Telangana is home to over 2 million MSMEs. MSMEs in the state are not just limited to the conventional manufacturing space like we see in other parts of the country. But what's so special about Telangana is that here we see MSMEs in the field of IT, ITES, pharma, and cloud solutions, which is helping the state, particularly Hyderabad, ascend in the data center domain in the country. Well, without getting too much into the numbers, as I believe that numbers can crowd the story and distract both the readers and the listeners, I would say coordinated efforts by stakeholders and government connect best in solving the challenges, be the challenges in the form of accessing easy finance, knowledge, skilled manpower, and infrastructure. Since we at Economic Times closely track India's MSME ecosystem, we definitely know a thing or two about it. On the basis of the recent stories that I have reported for MSMEs in my past association with different organizations and in current association with Economic Times, I can confidently say that MSMEs can no longer keep running on the same old directives and operating principles. What I believe is time for a change. ये बदलाव का वक्त है. There is an urgent need to empower small businesses, bridge gaps, leverage modern technology, and adapt to the changing needs of digitization. I again say digitization is very important, along with the adoption of modern technology. The other day, I had the opportunity to interact with some of the veteran stakeholders in Delhi of MSMEs. What I realized was the thing that digitization and modern tech adoption are now no longer an option, but a necessity for the MSMEs for the country to thrive in the local markets and also to compete globally. Why I am focusing on the need to adopt modern technology is for the three main reasons. First of all, navigating through a labyrinth of government regulations and compliance requirements can be overwhelming. Ensuring adherence to GST, labor laws, environment standards, and other obligations can be a significant burden at times to MSMEs, especially to the small businesses. The second is the challenges in acquiring easy capital. There's a complex maze of procedures that we see, collateral demands, high interest rates, and other things which deter the entrepreneurs, the small businesses in obtaining loans. The third is MSMEs often struggle to reach broader markets, both domestically and internationally. We have seen it many a times and currently seeing also. They need better networking opportunities, e-commerce platforms to showcase their products and services. I myself have profiled many such companies which have imbibed and adapted to the changing needs of the environment in terms of modernization and digitization. What I found that after they adopted to this modern technology, they managed to successfully reduce costs and improve business operations. For example, take the example of cloud-based digital billing software. It's a cost-effective way for small businesses to digitize their financial operations. It can also help them in streamlining their financial reporting, track expenses, and manage cash flows. Then there are examples how tech has empowered small businesses to compete against larger enterprises through strategic technological integration. Now technology becomes an equalizer in these things, enabling small businesses to establish global connectivity for the goods, overcoming resource constraint. At last, I would take an opportunity to quickly mention sustainability, about the green practices. Those are the practices that the world is adopting now. India is slowly getting into the mold, and we are seeing it's evolving as a new buzzword for businesses globally. There are firms which have saved over millions of dollars after adopting green practices. It's helped them in saving energy, increasing their operational efficiency, and there was a payback period in some of the examples of just 12 to 18 months. Our company's commitment, I believe, to green practices is just about environment responsibility, but a strategic investment that strengthens its position and creates significant value for stakeholders and shareholders. Technology combined with sustainable initiatives can be a big plus for small businesses in the country. But unless we sit together and strategize as a unit, we wouldn't be able to take that fourth step towards becoming globally competitive in true sense. I once again extend a warm welcome to you all. I look forward to meeting you all on the sidelines of the event, discussing your challenges and exploring new opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashish. And with that, I would like to invite on stage our keynote speaker. So please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Shri Jayesh Ranjan sir, IAS, Special Chief Secretary of the Industries and Commerce and Information Technology, Government of Telangana, who will be delivering the keynote address on the theme of empowering the state MSMEs, how Telangana is shaping the future. Over to you, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would first of all like to congratulate ET and Adobe for putting together this event, which speaks about empowering MSMEs. From our perspective in the government also, this is a very timely summit because we are on the verge of developing a new policy for MSMEs, a dedicated policy for MSMEs, and inputs from stakeholders, from actual MSME founders, people who study and observe MSMEs closely. This will be very useful and very relevant for us at this point in time. I would like to extend some of the thoughts which Ashish mentioned about, particularly the imperative of using digitalization, using advanced technologies. A while ago it was mentioned that we have more than 2 million MSMEs. This is something which I have seen commonly, that whenever we speak about MSMEs, we presume that it is one large homogeneous category. But there are lots of variations amongst MSMEs. First of all, MSME itself indicates 3 kinds of units: medium scale, small, and micro. And if you see who are these 2 million or 20 lakh MSMEs here, you will find that a majority of them are in the micro segment. Some are small, and a few are in the medium segment. Again, apart from this MSME classification, we also see huge differences in the way they use technology, they understand technology. I remember about approximately 7-8 years ago, of course, things have changed drastically, but 7-8 years ago, I was in a similar conference, which was organized by a consultancy organization. They had conducted a study on how much of digital technologies are used by MSMEs in Telangana. They had taken a random sample and they had implemented a questionnaire. So the questionnaire was on a scale. On the basic side of the scale were very basic kind of issues like, does the promoter or the founder of the MSME, does he have an email address? Is there a simple software like Tally, etc., which are used? Is the business using mails, etc., to give orders or receive orders, etc.? So these kind of questions were on one side. On the other side were more advanced questions like, does the enterprise have a website? Are they doing e-commerce? Do they follow an ERP solution? And so on and so forth. And they were presenting that report in that conference. And when they presented the report, I mean, not that I was shocked, but still I was very surprised when they told that more than 70% of the MSMEs whom they had surveyed, the promoter did not even have an email address. I mean, he was not even qualifying on the very first question of that scale. Not to speak even of the ERPs and websites and e-commerce and other kind of solutions. So normally in the world of technology, we say that we should help them move the ladder. But 7-8 years ago, it was very clear that they don't even know that there is a ladder. There is a question of moving them up the ladder. Of course, things have changed quite a lot, and I'm sure if the same survey is repeated today, there'll be much more acceptance and familiarity and adoption of digital technologies, but this is something which is very, very important. Equally important is the usage of manufacturing technologies. So when we say that there are 20 lakh, 2 million MSMEs, etc., if you also see how many of them are in the scale in terms of usage of manufacturing technology, again, you will find that many startups, many MSMEs, a large number of them, a large majority of them, would be what is still called 2 generations behind or 3 generations behind. The machines, the tools they would be using typically would be developed in 1950s, 1960s, and thereafter, whatever advancement has happened in their machinery, etc., they would have just not taken any note of it or shown any inclination in improving or upgrading their machinery into those kind of things. In fact, in our jargon, we say that many of these MSMEs are still in the 19th century. But at the same time, we also have exceptions and amazing exceptions. In fact, I have seen myself, I visited them and I have participated in their programs, etc. I know that there are dozens and dozens of MSMEs today who are part of global supply chains. They manufacture products and components which are the best in the world. And countries, OEMs from different countries actually have empaneled them as suppliers, as vendors, and they are progressing like anything. So there are amazing success stories also, but the fact is that those success stories are only few and far between. Large number of MSMEs are still in that 19th century kind of thing. Now, if you ask what is the reason why they are not adopting digital technologies, they are not adopting manufacturing technologies, and of late, there are newer kind of technologies which in a way are on the interface of digital and manufacturing. One very good example is what is called additive manufacturing or 3D printing. In fact, there are many verticals in Hyderabad and Telangana today where SMEs are actively operating, but many of them or most of them are unaware on how additive manufacturing can help them design, prototype, develop, scale, and even do away with large, bulky, costly, inefficient machineries and do the same work using modern additive manufacturing tools like 3D printers, etc. So neither digital technologies nor manufacturing technologies nor the interface of digital and manufacturing like 3D printing, etc. are being widely used as one would have liked to do. So if you try to find out what exactly are the reasons, why is it that this kind of transition has not happened, while it is not to say that it has not happened anywhere in the country. In fact, many people tell us that Tamil Nadu is one state where a large number of MSMEs have modernized their machinery, have improved on digital technology state. A few other states are also talked about, but we feel concerned that Telangana is not counted as one of those states. So if you really examine, if you really study what is it which has prevented the MSME founders to adopt more advanced manufacturing technologies and take more digital technologies, 3-4 reasons come out very commonly, very obviously. One very important reason which we hear about and I have personally again seen in many contexts is a mindset issue. Many of the founders, as you know, Telangana and Hyderabad in particular, became an industrial hub way back in the 60s when Government of India at that time decided to set up large public sector undertakings in this region. Companies like BHEL and HMT and IDPL and some of the defense PSUs. So those kind of, the presence of such large government-led PSUs, they in fact encouraged many ancillary suppliers, many component manufacturers, and today this number of 20 lakh plus MSMEs in the state, majority of them in and around Hyderabad, that number has emerged. So many of them have started way back in 60s, 70s, etc. And today if you check with them, you feel that there is a clear mental block. They feel that this is the only way in which they have been running their industry for the last 4-5 decades, and technology, etc., is not for them. They did not study advanced studies, higher studies. They don't have engineering background or technology background. Many of them are not very fluent in or very conversant in English language. So there is a feeling that technology is not for them. It is only for modern generation, younger generation, who has gone to college, who has command over language, and they just cannot handle technology. It is too sophisticated for them. But there is no such thing in reality. I mean, technology is not dependent upon age. Technology is not dependent whether you went to college or you dropped out of intermediate, whether you speak English or you only speak Urdu or you only speak Telugu. There's no relevance of these kind of things. But how do you really ensure that that mindset changes? So, and of course, the other important issues is a belief that huge investments will be required for technology and for technology upgradation, and we don't have that kind of money. So it is a fact that if you want to move from 19th century to 20th century or 21st century, you will have to invest. I mean, it will not come free of cost. Machines, modern machines are costly. Digital technologies come at a cost. You have to invest. But many people don't see anything beyond investment. What kind of returns you will get if you make that kind of investment. And if you make that kind of investment, as was pointed out by Ashish also, what kind of cost savings you will get, what kind of productivity enhancements you will get, what kind of quality improvements will you get, what kind of new market opportunities will you get. Many of the companies, so this is not to say that no one has upgraded. Those who have upgraded, I know of some cases again personally, today they are exporting their products. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, they were catering only to a very small number of procurers and struggling to meet ends meet. But the moment they invested in modern machinery, they are in a situation today that they are able to export their products. So dramatic changes happen if you make that kind of an investment. So how do you convince companies that if you spend money today, 5 times or 10 times or 8 times returns you will get, and whatever you have invested today, the payback will come very, very soon, maybe in 1 year time or 2 years time or 3 years time, but not more than that. So how do you objectively or scientifically or authoritatively convince or place all these facts before the MSME promoters? So this is the reality in Telangana, but the government today here has also decided to address these realities. It is not that we have just done this as an academic study to see what is the problem and what can happen, but we are in a position where we would be actually making these kind of things happen, facilitating these kind of things happen. I mentioned to you in the very beginning that we are in the process of developing a new MSME policy, and technology upgradation, usage of modern advanced technologies, digital technologies, additive manufacturing, etc. All these will figure very prominently in the policy. But there are 2-3 other good things also which have happened, which are about to happen or have happened recently. See, one is that there is a Government of India scheme which has started throughout the country. All states have received financial support under this scheme. This is a World Bank scheme called RAMP, R-A-M-P, Rapid Acceleration of MSME Performance, R-A-M-P. So under RAMP also, there is a strong component of technology upgradation. Similarly, there is another project which has come to our state that is exclusive to Telangana, which has been funded by Japanese government. The agency is called JICA. And there is a component there also to help MSMEs move up the value chain. So under both RAMP and JICA project, what we are planning to do is to study some of the important sectors in which large number of MSMEs are employed. So we want to take 8 to 10 sectors which cater to about 80% of the MSME presence. And these sectors are more or less known to everyone. People who work here, who study here, they know which are these sectors. So for example, machine tooling, machinery sector employs large number of MSMEs. Plastics and composites employs large number of MSMEs. Food processing sector employs large number of MSMEs. Textiles employs large number of MSMEs. Pharmaceutical, as was pointed out, employs large number of MSMEs. So we'll be picking up 8 to 10 such sectors where large number of MSMEs are present, and we will be studying as much of depth as possible what are the existing technologies which are used in these MSMEs. So let us say plastic manufacturing MSME, what machines are they using? What are the best machines which are available in our country today? What are the best which are available in the world today? So let us say plastic cluster is also very strong in Gujarat. The Gujarat MSMEs, what kind of machinery are they using? Is it different between our machinery and their machinery? Let us say Germany is the best global location for plastic manufacturing. What kind of machineries are used in Germany? So we will study all this and we will prepare a menu that from Hyderabad or Telangana level, if you want to move to Gujarat level, this is the investment you will have to make, but this is how your productivity will go up. This is how your quality will go up. This is how your costs will come down. Your energy savings will happen. This investment which you will make, in how many years will you be able to recover it? If you have more investment capacity, can you invest in a German kind of machinery? How much more you will have to do? So we will give a menu to all MSMEs working in different sectors. And if an MSME agrees that, okay, from my 19th century kind of machinery, I'll be happy to go to the next generation or 2 generations later, the government will also be willing to provide some subsidies and soft loan and funding support to do so. So that even though there is a payback, there is productivity increase, thereafter his incomes will be much, much higher than what is getting now. Just to give him a nudge, some money will be put by the government also, so that they feel confident that whatever they are going to do, there is going to be some viability and feasibility about it. We also have institutions which have been recently created. For example, we have an institution called T-Works, and the CEO is sitting in the audience, so I would encourage participants to interact with him later in the day. Also T-Hub, the CEO is also here and he'll be talking to all of you. These are institutions, plus we have Government of India institutions like CITD, etc. So we are also hoping that all these institutions also will help the MSMEs improve their technology by lowering the cost of acquiring these technologies. Instead of trying to get some machinery from Gujarat or Coimbatore or Ludhiana or Germany or Japan, can we ourselves prototype all these machinery here, which are equally efficient, equally productive, and manufacture them through some agency and make them available to MSMEs at a lower cost. So T-Works actually is taking this as an important program to really do this Make in India. I mean, not just Make in India, Make in Telangana really. So whatever is required for the MSMEs, I study what is the best generation version available, and can I do a local prototyping, local manufacturing, and make them available to them at a lower cost. And of course, the government subsidy, etc., that I spoke about, that will be added to it. So these are some of the things which, as I said, as it's a matter of nice coincidence that while this summit is happening today, we are parallelly working on all these initiatives. And it is only a matter of months, few months at the most, when all these things will roll out. RAMP project, as I told, has already been sanctioned to Telangana. JICA project is already sanctioned to Telangana. MSME policy, possibly in a month's time or 1.5 months' time, will come out in public. Subsidies, etc., which are to be tied up. Some funding is available through RAMP, some is available through JICA, and something else which is to be added, that will be done. T-Works is already up and running, T-Hub is up and running, CITD, we are trying to convince them to also work very closely with T-Works. T-Works also is planning to set up regional centers. While it is located in Hyderabad, in 5 other locations in the state, there will be smaller versions of T-Works, so that should not be a feeling that we are only catering to Hyderabad-based MSMEs or in and around Hyderabad. There are MSME clusters in places like Warangal, Karimnagar, Mahbubnagar. So everywhere in the state, we will be creating similar opportunities so that MSMEs really are able to move up. And tomorrow when people talk about which are the brightest or the most performing MSME clusters in the country, Telangana will be proudly noted along with 2-3 other states. So I feel very optimistic, and I'm very, very sure that if all the stakeholders give us good inputs, give us support, share their practical knowledge, and guide us on how to make all these policies and implementation of these policies very practical, very easy to access, we will really succeed in the ambitions and visions that we have. So once again, I thank ET and Adobe for organizing this summit and for inviting me to share my thoughts with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing the audience. Also, thank you so much for providing valuable insights into the various policies, initiatives, and the schemes being rolled out to pave the next wave of growth for MSMEs in Telangana. So next up is a fireside chat. I would now like to welcome Mr. Ashish Pandey on the dais to moderate the session. Also, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome on stage Mr. Mahankali Srinivas Rao, CEO T-Hub, to shed light on how Telangana can be India's growth engine, the challenges and opportunities. Let's all put our hands together to welcome them on the dais.
Hello everyone, I'm Ashish Pandey, and now I will be hosting the fireside chat with MSR, CEO, T-Hub, Hyderabad. So first of all, thank you very much for accepting our invitation for this fireside chat.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, ET.
It's on.
So, thank you, Ashish. Thank you to ET and Adobe for having me here. Real pleasure to be here on a Saturday morning.
Okay, sir. So, well, the theme of the chat, as you all know, is how Telangana can be India's growth engine, the challenges and opportunities. And it would mostly be a free-wheeling discussion with you. I will quickly come to the questions, sir. We will start with, I would like to start, MSR, with I wanted to know, first of all, our audience would be wanting to know, what are the initiatives being undertaken by T-Hub in Hyderabad in terms of creating launch pads for startup ventures and in terms of welcoming the game-changing ideas in Telangana? And the second thing is, I also wanted to know, how has the startup ecosystem evolved in Telangana over the years?
Sure. Thank you. So, I think, so T-Hub, as you know, is now a 9-year-old entity. And over the last 9 years, we've supported close to 2,000 plus startups. Cumulatively, they raised close to about 16,000 crores of capital. And broadly, if you see the areas how do we support startups, right? So the first part is obviously we have the world's largest incubator at T-Hub. So for those of you who've not been to T-Hub, I'd like to extend an invitation to come. This is by far the largest incubator in India and among the top 2 in the world. We have about 585,000 square feet of space. At this point of time, resident in the building, we have about 480 plus startups. Apart from obviously the startups, there are lots of startups which are not necessarily resident in the building, but whom we work with as part of our programs. So at any given time, we work with about 700 plus startups. At any given time, we're engaging with about 700 startups, right? So what do we do for the startups apart from the space, right? So obviously, one of the things among the many things which we are providing, one is we run a set of programs, right? So essentially, anyone who has an idea, right, and wants to figure out whether that idea can be potentially converted into an entity, and basically set up an enterprise. So we have a program for that.
I'll just want to come in here, sir. You talked about the programs. If anyone has some idea, he can come to you and pitch his startup to you.
Correct.
We just wanted to know, for the general understanding, what's the process like exactly? If I have an idea, for instance, how do I approach it?
So what we do is, there are 2 ways if someone has an idea, how you can engage with us. So on 2 Thursdays of every month, we do what we call an idea open house. Okay, so anyone can, these are all things which we put out on social media. So essentially LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So anyone can walk in, basically you just have to sign up, register, walk in, and then usually this is between a 2.5 to 3 hour session. So each person gets about 10 to 15 minutes to pitch his idea. So we have a jury. So some of our expert mentors, etc., listen. So they ask you to present what you're thinking about. And obviously the whole idea is to help you move forward with the decision to go or no go, right? So that's one part. This is the first part. Now, if there's some merit in the idea, there's some, the idea has some wheels in it, then what we do is we encourage them to join up a program. So we have a program called BLITZ. This is a 45-day BLITZ, B-L-I-T-Z. So this is a 45-day program. So where essentially now, and I'll give you some background to why we do it in this length of time. One of the things we found with many startups, obviously we all know that mortality rate in startups is very high. Only about 1 in 10 actually go on to survive and become sustainable. So what we are looking at is, how do you reduce the element of risk, right? So one of the reasons, so many people will, when they're asked, why do startups fail? Many of them will tell you they fail because they ran out of money. Okay, but that is a downstream indicator. So actually what you have to do is upstream look at it, which is what is the problem the startup is trying to solve first, right? Many times we don't really understand. It's hard, for example, for the startup itself in many cases to articulate what is the problem they are trying to solve, why is it a problem, and what are the existing solutions out there to solve that problem. If they are building a solution, how is it going to be differentiated, Okay. For example, am I going to be able to do it because I have some proprietary IP around it, or I have a more efficient way of distribution, and so on, right? And also, how do you make money, right? If you assume you monetize and assume you get a significant share of the market for whatever you are building, will you be able to create a large enough business, right? These are where fundamentally many startup ideas actually fall apart when you start probing a little bit, start peeling the onion. You will find that many startups fail because they haven't done enough homework on first finding out, A, what is the real problem they are trying to solve. Second is, what is the solution they are building? Is it adequately differentiated, etc., etc.? Is there a large enough market? Whether it's a consumer, whether you're doing business to consumer or whether you're doing B2B, and what is your ideal customer profile, right? So if you don't have an understanding of all this, chances are you will struggle. And this is what we see typically, right? And of course, if you do all of these things, then obviously the first thing is to get your what you call prototype in place, be it a software platform or a hardware product and so on. And then subsequently, how do you start getting the first set of customers? Because the best validation, and people talk about go-to-market and product market fit and all that, I have a very simple logic for this. You have reached product market fit if you can get 5 customers who are not relatives first. Second is, if beyond the founder, so let's say, for example, suppose you are a founder, Ashish, you know how to sell because, obviously you're something you are passionate about, etc. But if you've got a team, okay, who can sell after the first 5 customers, you can go out and get 10 customers without your active intervention, then you are actually now starting to build a business. Okay, this is a very unconventional.
That's interesting, actually.
Unconventional, because fundamentally, if you want to build a business of scale, which is not revolving around you, okay, first is you have to get customers. Customers, I see my friend Prem here, he's a drone, company, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people. He will tell you this, getting the first 5 customers is the hardest part. One. Second is, after you get the first 5 customers, getting the next 10 customers, if you can do it, it can be easy if the founder does it. But if the founder does it, it will not scale. Okay, it will not scale because life revolves around the founder. What if, hypothetically, and I don't wish this on anybody.
No, everyone is nodding their heads. That means it's making sense to everyone.
I don't wish this on anybody, but I still remember a question when I had gone to pitch to raise funding for my second startup. So the VC who funded us, finally, the company called Chirate, asked me one question, saying, what happens to this business if you drop dead tomorrow or are hit by a bus? Okay. Now, think about this. If you have built an engine where there is somebody else who can sell or build the product other than the founder, then you have now started to build a system of doing business. So this is what we try and do in the Blitz program, right? Ask some really tough questions, because it is better not to start till you got some clarity on some of these questions. Okay, suppose you say, I'll spend the next of my life, and entrepreneurship is a marathon. One, right? Marathon which combines sprints. So every day you have to sprint, but at the same time you have to run a 26-mile marathon, right? So it's a combination of sprints in a marathon, right? So you need to have stamina, you need to have persistence, and most importantly, you need to have a team to be able to build. So that's what we are trying to do in that program. And then there are other programs. So where, let's say, if you've already got to some level of traction, so which means you've got a few customers, you figured out what's your ideal customer profile. How do you now take it to, for example, let's say you've got, so let's put it this way, 0 to 1 crore, 1 crore to 10 crores, 10 crores to 50 crores, 50 crores to 500 crores. Each of these is a very different journey. And what got you from 0 to 1 is not guaranteed to take you from 1 to 10 and so on. So you have to play the game differently at each stage, right? So that's what we try and work on. So that's the first part. The second part is, how do we help our startups get market access, right? So how can, for example, let's say particularly those startups which are in B2B, how can they get in front of a large corporate. How does a no-name startup, right, get in front of a large corporate, for example, right? Or let's say a large defense, establishment, or a large government establishment, etc. The third part is how do we help them raise some capital? Okay, so we've built a nice network of angel networks and investors, institutional investors. So how do we prepare these guys to pitch for them, right? And then of course fourth is mentors. So how do you get high quality mentors, people who've been there in the trenches, who've done it before, and can actually talk from personal experience, not theoretical constructs. That's what we are really trying to do.
And the second part was, how have you seen the whole ecosystem of startups over the years since you are a veteran in the field? How did you see it? What are views in terms of how has it changed over the years?
Sure. So if you go back in time in Telangana, so back in 2014 when the state was formed, there were probably about 50 startups. Okay. So today, if you look at the last report from DPIIT, which is the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, we now have close to about 7,500 startups. Okay. Right. So in about a 10-year period, give or take, close to 50 has gone up to 7,500. Okay. So which means something is working.
Something is working.
Right, for sure. Right. And obviously, there's also diversity, like Jayesh Garu said in the MSME context. So you have micro, small, and medium. Here, our diversity is more in terms of the sectors, right? So obviously, we have Hyderabad being, what it is. There are lots of startups in the life sciences and healthcare ecosystem. There is a lot of very good emerging startups in the defense and aerospace because we have the ecosystem here. We have high quality defense labs and so on.
Just MS, I want to cut you into this. I just wanted to understand, like Jayesh mentioned, about the new MSME policy coming up, and of course the kind of works that the government has done, and of course the previous governments have done, every government has done. What are the kind of things you are seeing in terms of change in government policy over the years that helped in helping in building the ecosystem for the startups in the state?
Sure. So I think first of all, the government, by setting up an institution like T-Hub and then T-Works, for example, right? They've set up 9 different entities. I'm talking specifically about 2. So T-Hub is about ideation, incubation. T-Works is about prototyping, right? So essentially, having the vision to set up a system like this, right, and build a true public-private sort of partnership, right, where in the case of, for example, T-Hub, so we have government, we have industry, we have academia involved, right? And they work together quite seamlessly, right? And bringing talent from, for example, from the private sector, people who've been entrepreneurs themselves, etc., who understand, what it takes to build a business from zero to whatever stage. So that's the first part. Second is when 2014, when the state was conceived, Jayesh Garu will I think add to this. I think we had 2 or 3 incubators in Telangana, right? So we had ICICI, we had ISB. Today we have close to 70 plus incubators, right? Many of them are in colleges, because one of the things is important to remember is this whole thing about entrepreneurship mindset, which is referred to many times. It starts early. You have to sow the seeds of entrepreneurship at an early stage, one. Second is you have to have role models whom people can relate to. So someone, let's say some young person in a remote location, right, finds, and I think Prem is a great example, right? He doesn't necessarily come from, a family which was in business before, right? First generation entrepreneur, right? So you have to have role models. Someone looks at somebody like a Prem, he says, if he can do it, I can do it too.
And then there are many more examples.
I can give you many examples.
Many examples.
So, for example, if you take space tech, we now have a very interesting set of space tech related startups in Hyderabad. So we have Skyroot, the first Indian private company to launch, rockets into space. We have Dhruva, right? Now these are all typically first generation entrepreneurs, fairly young, type of thing. And they've all, chucked up the security of comfortable corporate jobs and decided to take the plunge,
That's interesting, sir, especially in the space technology that we are seeing. I also wanted to know, it's very interesting, so fascinating to see many of such startups and the ecosystem developing in Hyderabad, but Telangana, I must say. what exactly is Telangana and Hyderabad doing that's so different from other parts of the country that they are coming up with such new business in the field of space manufacturing, satellites and drones, of course?
So I think, see, any ecosystem gets built on the shoulders of what has happened before, right? So all of this is a kind of continuum, right? So obviously Hyderabad, Telangana have evolved over a period of time. So traditionally we've had sectors like pharma, infrastructure. Some of our biggest infra companies are from Hyderabad. IT also we've had, many companies coming in. ITES and so on, right? So we had the service companies, then we had BPO companies, etc., right? And now we also have a large number of global capability centers, right? We have, I think in Hyderabad now, we are probably among the top 2 from a countrywide perspective in terms of that. So all of this, there's an ecosystem. We have high quality educational institutions. We have lots of high quality research institutions, 40 plus of them. So all of this, so talent, the collaboration between industry, academia, government, etc. So all of this is what is leading to this. And obviously there are areas for improvement. I think I'd be the last person to say that we've arrived. There's a lot more we can do. But I think we've set a solid foundation in terms of what's been done. And there's of course a lot more to do. Yeah. So as you know, to build a good structure, you need a good foundation, which we have.
Which you have. Okay, now let's come to the side of the MSMEs also I wanted to discuss. I wanted to know, in the age of today when AI is coming up, disrupting everything everywhere in the world, and India is no exception to it, what kind of preparation should you think that MSMEs should do to meet the upcoming challenges posed by AI? And the second thing is, in such a disruption, how do we see the MSME landscape reshaping itself in Telangana and of course in other parts of the country also?
So I think Jayesh Garu referred to a few points in terms of, for example, I think digital transformation is now given. Okay, for across every industry, across every sector, if you are not digital, and in some cases what I call you're not digital native, right, you will find it hard to struggle, right? Now there are pluses and minuses, right? So one advantage obviously with going digital, right, is that your marketplace is not limited to where you are. You can be in India and you can be selling, components to anybody in the world, right? So that's one. Yeah. So the sooner you embrace digitalization, the better you are. That's one. Now coming back to the point about AI, I think AI will have profound implications in all sectors. It will have profound implications in manufacturing, in healthcare, in education. Pretty much every sector will not remain untouched by the advances in AI. So what are we seeing? For example, just to share with you, about 2 months ago, we launched a Department of Science and Technology funded AI/ML Center of Excellence. Okay, so we already have now 80 plus startups in AI. Many of them are relatively early stages, what we call technical readiness level 3 to 4 on a scale of 10. So they'll get some time to actually hit the market, but they're doing lots of very interesting work in different areas. Just to give you some examples, we have outstanding companies in legal tech. Okay, so I think the legal space is really poised for disruption with AI, right? We all are aware of, the backlog of cases, etc., etc. So how can, AI be used effectively to improve the functioning of the legal system, right? Both from the judiciary side as well as from the practitioner, the lawyer side. So that's one example. Similarly, for example, in healthcare, lots of things which are being done in the predictive health space, right? I think there are two parts. There are things around, let's say, chronic disease management type of thing. There's also lots of things which I think the focus will now start moving more and more to preventive health. Okay, how can you, so we are all aware, NCDs are going up. So can you do an early detection, diagnosis, etc. So we have startups, for example, in doing things around breast cancer, right, for example, early detection and so on. Right. So I think all of these will have, and in manufacturing, predictive analytics, how do you make sure that your machines run more effectively, you get early warning about breakdowns, etc., etc. So lots of interesting work.
Also, why I wanted to ask the MSME thing was, since Jayesh sir already mentioned that there were many companies, when they had the survey last time, the first time they had, the promoters were not even having the Gmail, their official email account. Now, since AI is coming up and this technology is disrupting the business environment, wouldn't it be kind of challenging for MSMEs? Particularly, I wanted to ask about the small businesses. Wouldn't it be challenging for the MSMEs in the starting leg? Would they become this kind of challenge for them because they are not ready to, ready to accept it at the moment? By the time they get ready to it, wouldn't they be further backwards in terms of the value chain?
Okay, so let's put it this way. I think in all of this, Darwin's law will apply. Okay, so survival of the fittest. So if you don't adapt, if you don't change, you will be toast or you will be history, right? So beyond the point, what worked in the past, right, will not necessarily work in the future. So change. So I think there's no point in trying to resist change. You should embrace change. Obviously, you'll have constraints of capital, capability, manpower, etc. But you have to find a way out, right? And it sometimes means, in some cases, if the business, let's say, is doing reasonably well, start reinvesting in preparing yourself for the future. Okay, so that's something which you have to do. If you don't change, and as Jayesh Garu so eloquently said, if you're still doing stuff using machines made 40, 50 years back, you will be out-competed, you will be outgunned, and you will not be able to survive.
And we are seeing it in many of the cases of the MSME. Coming to this question, sir, role of innovation. We have seen in the past 5 to 10 years many of the MSME, many of the startups coming up, and of course they are coming up. But I wanted to understand from you, since you watch them from close, what's the level of innovation, especially in the ecosystem of startups in Telangana, if we talk about. Sure. How are we placed in terms of innovative startups?
Sure. So I think two angles. I'll refer to an India angle and then I'll talk about Telangana. So there's something called Innovation Index, which is put out. India has moved up the ranks. So obviously one framework we are all familiar with is this ease of doing business, which used to be done till I think about 2019. And post that, the World Bank stopped doing it. So India had moved up. Similarly, now from a India Innovation Index, India is now ranked number 41 in the world, right? Telangana, I think, would be ranked among the top 2 or 3 states from an innovation standpoint. And what we are seeing today, I think, again, going back to the ecosystem bit, so we do have very interesting startups in several areas. To name a few, obviously, defense, aerospace, right, because of the ecosystem which we have here. Obviously, healthcare, right? Jayesh Garu also referred to food processing. So that's also where we are starting to see some interesting plays. Now you'll start to see more and more work happening on the AI front. So again, I'll give you one definition for innovation, which is important to remember. This is something which I read many years ago. This is a professor called Bill Oley from MIT. So he said innovation is equal to idea into commercialization.
Idea into commercialization.
So you can have an idea, but if you cannot figure out how to monetize it, then it just remains an idea, right? So what we are trying to do is to make sure that commercially sustainable innovations can be supported and can be accelerated further.
That's fair enough. Now coming back to T-Hub Hyderabad, so I wanted to understand from you about the ESG initiatives that are being taken at T-Hub Hyderabad. And ESG is a global buzzword. So please educate us about this thing.
Sure. So at T-Hub, we run an Atal Innovation Center. This is part of a program by the Atal Innovation Mission. It's a national program. There are 76 Atal Innovation Centers, and we are now among the top 2. When they do an annual ranking, and for the last 2 years, we've consistently ranked among the top 2 in that one. So there we run specifically a focus around sustainability. It's an area of focus for us. So we have a lot of startups, for example, in the EV space, electric vehicle space, which everybody believes is the future. We also have startups which are working on energy. So when I mean by energy, I'm talking about things like alternate forms of energy, wind energy, solar energy, hybrid forms of energy, etc. A large number of startups focused on recycling, this whole circular economy bit. So today we have now north of about 90 plus startups which are in the areas of climate tech, renewables and so on. Many of them are early stage, some of them have commercialized to some extent. And we are obviously also working actively with the, with the collective. So, for example, there's something called the India Climate Collective.
Okay.
We're working with them and so on. We'll start to see, more progress. And of course, we have a great role model here. So, all of you, most of you would know of this company called Greenco, right, which is a leader in that space. So, they support us in a big way to, to support these early stage startups.
Very interesting. You mentioned about the EVs, sir. I just wanted to know, though it's not in the context, but still I wanted to know what's the future of Telangana in the space of EVs?
I think Jayesh Garu is better placed to answer that question. So I'll try and take a stab at it.
Okay,
but from a startup lens, we do have a large number of interesting plays. And I'll just, again, one of the challenges when I put names out there, I risk alienating people whose names I don't mention, but obviously I'll this thing. So, but we do have, for example, we have a company which is incubated at T-Hub, a company called Gayam, which has now been renamed as Bilti.
Okay.
They are now building out, they've set up a $150 million plant to manufacture three-wheelers for cargo. They're also exporting in a big way, right? Okay. So they are based here. Another company we work with closely is a company called Race Energy. Race Energy. And Race Energy is working on batteries, swappable batteries, etc., etc. Then we have a bunch of companies, early stages, which are working on essentially battery and battery management systems. Then we have a bunch of guys working on telematics and so on, right? So we have a fairly large list. Then there is somebody else who's trying to build an all-terrain bike, which can be, and he's actually done from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. He's featured in the Limca Book of Records and so on. So some of them are at various stages of completion in terms of commercialization. We also have people who are building electric cycles, for example, right? So I think we built a decent ecosystem, and I'm sure there'll be more you'll hear in the times to come.
Okay, fair enough. The other things I wanted to know is, of course, what we talked about. I can get a sense that Telangana is doing very well in the startup ecosystem, at least. I talk to various stakeholders in different parts of the country for my stories that I do for MSMEs and startups. What I've realized, maybe you can correct me, I have found that there are not many startups coming in the agri space. First of all, am I correct in mentioning this?
I think again, Prem will know that better, but I'll answer that.
I'll
answer that because, so again, there are, I was reading recently a report done by an impact investor. There are now north of about 700 plus startups in agri, right? I think the challenge in agri has been so a lot of it has been technology-driven interventions,
of course,
right?
Of course.
Unfortunately, the challenge is when you do technology-driven intervention, somebody has to pay to deploy the technology and you'll get a payback, right? But then given the nature of the markets, meaning we all are familiar with the fact that we have very fragmented land holdings, very small farms, 2 acre, 3 acre type of farms. So the affordability of the farmer, while he can appreciate the technology, his ability to pay, right, and consequently for the innovator to be able to monetize, that's at risk.
Right.
That's one big challenge, right? So today, I do know he's also running kind of semi-agri startup, and I know of many others who are doing this. The challenge is that the farmer's ability to pay. So there have been supply-side interventions, there have been demand-side interventions, there have been market-side interventions, there have been data-driven, how do you use technology to, to define cropping, and all of those things. Challenge, I think, is that the ability of the farmer to pay is limited.
Okay.
Right? Because if you are running a small farm, essentially it's a livelihood farm you are running, right? You just produce enough for yourself and for a little bit, but you don't have you're not doing, for example, like in the West, right? So you can have 100,000 acre farm.
Landholding is
weak. So the farmer's ability to pay has been a challenge. So if you take any of these, even the bigger companies, right, whether it's a Farm Sathi or a Ninja Cart or Dehat or whatever, but the good thing is, I think the last 2-3 years, there are a bunch of investors now who are saying, I'm interested.
They're interested.
Interested in this space, right? Because I think food security is important.
Okay.
We all recognize that.
Okay.
So investors like Omnivore, Avishkar, and a whole bunch of other people are Lok, for example, etc., are all now starting to invest. So what you need in agri from a startup standpoint is you need patient capital, right? You cannot expect the conventional cycles which you would expect in a typical VC fund to play out in agri.
There's also a lot of risk involved in terms of the climate and everything.
Correct. So, but we are starting to see.
We are starting to see, at least you are hopeful that we will.
And also now, I think the other thing which is happening, again, slightly, this thing is that we are starting to see, for example, we have now this social stock exchange, right? So now we are starting to see some companies whom you would categorize as social businesses,
Okay.
right? And there's now a mechanism to list, on a separate exchange called the social stock exchange. So slowly you'll start to see. It's again, I think if you ask me realistically, it's a 5-10 year journey before you see this thing. But
At least we are on the right path.
we are getting there.
Okay, second last thing that I would like to understand is any 3 problems that you are seeing in the startup space that need to be resolved and can be resolved even with the minimal of efforts, a coordinated effort between the stakeholders and the government can help. What are the 3
I think
things?
there are many. From a regulation standpoint,
Okay.
while I think a lot has been done to simplify ease of doing business, there are a few things which can be done further, right? One of the challenges, particularly from a government perspective, is I think, some of the, for example, in startups by nature, as I said, setting up a startup is hard work. Sometimes in India, shutting down a startup is even harder work.
Okay.
You will have failure for whatever reason, right? Lack of product market fit, incompatibility between the founders. You don't have a large enough, you're not able to raise funding, etc., etc. So shutting down a startup is hard work, right?
Okay.
And that also discourages people who fail to start again. They don't want to go through that, the tedium again, right? So, and also there are plenty of other things which I don't want to, bore you with. But even now, the angel tax regime needs a lot of work. There's a lot of work to be done to simplify it, because you cannot, suppose there's a high net worth individual who wants to invest in a startup. Now, you cannot have a notice being sent to him to find out his source of income and all that. You're just adding to what I call the regulatory compliance and cholesterol type of thing. So that's one. The second, I think, is for some sectors, so while we have 120,000 plus startups in India today, according to DPIIT, we have probably about 6,000 to 7,000 which are in deep tech.
Which are in deep tech,
right? Very deep, meaning I'm talking of AI, next generation technologies like blockchain, robotics, quantum computing, etc. Now, there is a lack of patient capital in India. Okay, so let me explain that. So you take a healthcare startup, right? A healthcare startup, for them to get to the clinical trial stage, from the idea, from the concept to this thing, is a 3 to 4 year period to get to that stage. Now, if you are looking at a fund, I'm talking from a VC fund standpoint, typically a VC fund has a 7-year period of operations. So the first 2-3 years they invest in the companies, and then the remaining 2-3 years they start looking to exit. And the last year they're looking to raise funding for the next fund they're looking to raise. So there's a mismatch, right, between the expectations of the LPs in the VC fund and what the startup needs to be able to grow, right? So, and of course the central government has announced a national research fund, 100,000 crores. We are waiting, I guess, once the new union budget comes in, they've made some good forward-looking announcements, saying they'll give, at a very low, interest rate, it will be a 50-year fund, etc. But we need to see the fine print and to see how, these will be supported. So I would say angel tax, lack of patient capital for certain sectors, I think that's a challenge. And third, I think is we need to further democratize what's being done. Today, if you see the top 6 or 7 cities account even now for a large number of startups. And 120,000 looks like a big number, but when you take 1.4 billion people, I think we need probably 10 times that number.
We need to take that through the tier 2, tier 3 cities.
Correct. A lot is being done, but a lot more needs to be done.
Okay, sir. And the last thing that I wanted to know from you, any big trends in the startup ecosystem in the coming 5 to 10 years? What do you see?
I'm not good at crystal gazing, but obviously today AI is the flavor of the day. Okay, every startup I know is rebranding itself as an AI company.
You must be getting a lot of pitches.
No, so everybody is now putting .ai.
Okay,
Okay, right after. So even if you're a, even if you're a healthcare company, okay, you'll say health.ai, because they think it's
fancy.
It's fancy, right? So obviously AI is here to stay. We'll need to find out how it happens. AI is there, but also a lot of other things will happen. I think you'll see, for example, in e-commerce, you'll start to see more and more hyper-personalization, etc. You'll also start to see now, even today, after so much has been done in e-commerce, we are still largely restricted to certain parts of India. Right? So when you think about India, right, particularly from an investor perspective, there are actually 3 Indias. There's 100 million India, 100 million people in India who are the top tier, right, who are the consumers of, Amazon, Flipkart, whatever. There's a second category which is 100 to 500 million. And there's a third category which is 500 million to 1.4 billion, right? So you'll now start to see solutions being built for all 3 tiers, like micro, small,
like the MSME
that's one.
Yeah.
And then, of course, technology-wise, semiconductors, quantum, right, and robotics, right. All of that will, healthcare, obviously, supply chain optimization. All of those will get to play.
That is, sir. I'm almost done with my questions. Neeraj, should we take some questions? If anyone is interested in a couple of questions, we can take, I guess. Yes. So please pass on the mic. Is it getting the mic, sir? Yeah, we can hear you, but still we can get.
What I could see is that greetings to you, Mr. Srinivas Mahankali, for actually being out and he works with the shipping in a very great dimension with about 7,500 startups. So, since actually you all are concentrating on technology, what is your view actually having some association with management institutions? Wherein, when I was working for ITWC Node, we had actually 6 organizations and 35 strategic business units. Each of these units were associated with marketing, related information, research, and analysis. For these startups, don't you think actually that line of understanding is essential for them to move forward for whatever actually thought process they have or the solutions they have from their
So, sorry, could you rephrase the question again?
For T-Works and T-Hub, what is your view of getting associated with management institutions, where the marketing-related research can be done and they can be supported well for these strategic business units, startup units. So, since they are coming out with the innovation or innovation-related technologies, so they can look at actually, the failures can be reduced, and so that the success can be gathered.
Sure. So I'll take a stab at that. So at T-Hub itself, so some of you may not be aware that T-Hub is actually a public-private partnership. So we have the government of Telangana, Jayesh Garu is on our board, and then we have 3 academic institutions. So we have IIIT, ISB, Nalsar on our board, and then we have 5 industrialists on our board, right? Scient, Sri Capital, and so on. Right, so obviously we do a lot of programs where, particularly from ISB, our faculty from ISB are involved in our programs. They come and take expert sessions, which could be, for example, the most popular session from ISB as part of our programs is one on valuation, as an example, right? So we have a very good faculty from ISB comes in and takes sessions on valuation, right? Similarly, digital marketing, again, we've got a very good professor from ISB who comes in and takes classes. From Nalsar, there are people who are experts on IP and patent law and all of that. So they come in and take sessions, right? So we try and involve with, so we work with IIIT, we work with IIT Hyderabad, we work with bids and all of these. So wherever appropriate, we bring them in. And one last example, recently we signed up with ASCII, the Administrative Staff College of India. And they are actively working, as you know, they do a lot of work with government departments, etc., etc. So we have started to work with them particularly to help our startups get exposure to oil and gas, for example, right? ASCII does a lot of work with the oil and gas industry. So our startups, because we are now doing programs with ASCII for oil and gas, will get exposure to the potential end customers type of thing. So we are trying to involve them. Are we fully there yet? The answer is no. Can we do more? The answer is definitely yes.
Any other question? Sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Jayesh Ranjan. I'm a cost and management consultant. I'm a service provider, basically. In your entire program, your address, I'm just getting the feeling that the factor of sustainability from the rural perspective is just getting missed.
Sorry?
Sustainability program that the net zero concept, under the Prime Minister has actually coined, etc., etc. Linking the villages to the kind of a net zero mission that the government of India is taking place, wherein our Telangana also is actively participating. I know you are into renewable energy, you are encouraging all the innovations and all. AI is artificial intelligence node. AI stands for agriculture industry also. So that way, maybe some kind of innovation you can generate, like we can say tea agriculture, some kind of a hub, where the agriculture sector can contribute for the development of MSME segments. Particularly, a farmer is basically an entrepreneur. There is a HR manager, there is a finance manager, there is a production manager, there is a marketing manager. Therefore, sir, sustainability aspect is one thing that I request the TF to focus at. I mean, that's what I felt like it's missing in the entire.
So we have actually a sister entity. So we have, I'll try and do this fast. Okay. We have a sister entity which is called RICH, the Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad. They actually operate out of T-Hub. And RICH's mandate is essentially to promote innovation broadly in 3 sectors, which is agriculture, mobility, and healthcare. Right? These are the 3 sectors which they are broadly focused on. They are doing a lot of interesting work, working along with entities, with a lot of the ICAR, and CSR entities in areas. For example, I'll give you one example very quickly. So one of the startups which we've jointly funded is a startup which is working on seaweed, and I'll quickly give you this example. So there is a startup which is building additives, seaweed-based additives, which can be added to animal feed to reduce methane emission, as an example, right? And not only reduce methane emission, but also increase, productivity of the bovine, right? By a factor of somewhere between 30 to 40%. So right now they are doing field trials, okay? Similarly, for example, just to give you one more example, we all know that our state is a leading producer of turmeric, right? So there are startups which are working on, there's also a large initiative which Jayesh Garu is actively involved in called the Agri Data Collaboratory, okay, where looking at large patterns of data, mining the data to find patterns which can again be used to be fed back to the to the farming community. A lot of these are happening. Maybe they haven't been given the visibility they should be, but there is work happening.
I guess we are with the time now. Thanks, Amasa, for giving your time. I hope you liked the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you so much, MSR sir, for such valuable information on how MSMEs can leverage the many support services and the resources offered by T-Hub. Thank you once again. So I would now like to welcome to the dais Mr. Shobhan Babu, Head of Mid-Markets, Adobe India, to present on the theme of Empowering Indian MSMEs through Digital Transformation. I would like to give a brief bio about you, please. An expert in tech solutions with a deep understanding of the tech products platform, Mr. Shobhan is responsible for driving growth and innovation within this crucial segment. With over 2 decades of experience, he brings wealth of knowledge and insights to the table, exemplifying Adobe's commitment to digital transformation and empowering businesses of all sizes. Mr. Shobhan will also be sharing strategies for overcoming the challenges MSMEs face in managing their receivables. Thank you so much for being here with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you everyone for giving this opportunity to talk about Adobe, and thank you for coming on a Saturday morning. I do understand it's a very, very important day when we balance our work-life balance. Just to add to my introduction, I'd like to share that I am from Hyderabad. While I'm representing Adobe, I take pride in being a part of Hyderabad's growth journey for the last 25 years. Started my journey from Hyderabad. Now I'm in Mumbai for the last 15 years, handling the national businesses for companies like Microsoft and now with Adobe. But whatever Jayesh has been sharing in his presentation, and after that MSR was talking about how this evolution is, I've been seeing this in my journey in the last 25 years with so many companies from Hyderabad. Now I have the opportunity of talking to all of them, few of them again back in Hyderabad. It is nice to be here back in Hyderabad, but proud to be part of Hyderabad and its growth journey. And I take pride in being a Hyderabadi all across India. So whenever I go to any other city presenting anything and meeting people, I do take up a point of telling about Hyderabad and how fast it has been growing in my own experience. Coming to the theme that you have been hearing since morning, a lot of emphasis has been laid by Mr. Jayesh and also by MSR on technology and technology adoption, and you being owners of your business. This is very, very critical for you to understand, as MSR has already ensured that you understand that you need to reinvest your own time and effort to, as a part of your regular practice, because you invest in your next generation people to take up your business. You invest in capital, capex, in expanding your manufacturing capacity. At the same level, if you're not looking at how are you becoming digitally enabled, because however big and small the company might be today, it has to be having a digital edge. That's how all companies are. And as you're all seeing that there are a lot of companies which are cloud native or digital native we talk about. When they're digital native, what does simply it means is whatever they're trying to do as a part of their business, they are trying to take maximum advantage of the digital technology and the digital infrastructures that are available across. It's not just the technology, it's the infrastructure, it is how the marketplaces are evolving. It is very, very important that this point, what all of our distinguished speakers have been telling, have to be picked up. And I would, if there's one thing other than the industry knowledge all of you have gained because of our distinguished speakers sharing their experiences, the one other point that I would like to emphasize, being part of this digital transformation journeys across so many industries, this digital adoption in every part of your business is going to be very, very critical. And I'm also cognizant of the fact that all companies will not be moving at the same pace. The legacy will come in the way for change management, for adoption, and introducing some digital technologies. But we have to be at it. We have to be continuously investing time, and coming to this kind of events will always help you to make yourself aware of what's happening in this world of digital transformation. And another big myth is digital transformation and AI and all this kind of technologies are for big companies. Absolutely no. All the technologies, vendors like Microsoft, Adobe, Oracle, SAP, all of them are coming up with technologies which are suitable for small and medium businesses also. When I'm talking about suitability, I'm talking about affordability as the first one, because all of us think about the cost first. We are a very, very conservative business units. We need to think about cost, and I am completely in line with it. One is affordability. Two, the ease of use and the learning curve. The technology cannot be so complicated that it will take you double the cost. of investing on the technology to learn and adopt to the technology. And the most important thing when we are talking about cloud technologies in general, the best part of cloud technology is you can try and fail very fast at the least cost. If you want to understand cloud technology non-technically, I would say that instead of you buying a software, buying the hardware, taking a technical consultant to implement that and a trainer to train you on how to use, all this is shrunk now in the last 1 decade when we have moved everything onto cloud technologies. MSMEs should be daring to try any new technology. Probably it might not suit your company or your business. The cost of just junking it or just leaving it is very minimal because we are talking about pay as you go. When you're talking about cloud technologies, the biggest advantage is you pay for a month for the usage of technology. And if it doesn't suit you, just leave it and try something else. In the previous world, when I started my career 25 years back, it was not possible. When you go into technology adoption, it is like you're getting married to that. More or less, you have to make it successful rather. So now with cloud technologies, the biggest advantage for the business owner sitting in this room is that you should try anything new which you think will help your business, grow your business, and become competitive. When I'm saying competitive, competitive from any angle, reaching the customer who will never talk to you is the biggest thing that people are looking for. How do we reach to the customers sitting in Hyderabad, somewhere in New Zealand? How do we reach to them? How do we ensure that not only reach, we talk to them about our business solution, we present them, we conclude the deal and deliver our service or a product. So all this is now possible because of technology, digital technology, and making sure that you are adopting to the latest ways of reaching to your customer using marketplaces and other stuff. Having said that, I'll just like to delve deeper into what Adobe does. As most of you know, Adobe is known for one product. If everybody knows that, it is called the PDF. All of us use a PDF, Acrobat PDF and a PDF and reader. PDF reader is a free of cost tool for everyone to use. And our government of India has adopted it for all our income tax returns that we come, and it comes with a PDF reader for you to open and see. That way everybody are more prevalent. But Adobe does more than PDF. We are the founders of PDF, 40-year-old company, spread across the world, and incidentally, India being the second largest place for Adobe in India, we have close to 12,000 people, and we are mostly present in Noida and Bangalore as a development hub, but as a business, we cater to all kinds of businesses across India. But other than PDF, we are very, very well known for our Creative Cloud solution. We are present in 3 clouds. So when you're talking about Adobe, we actually are having 3 different cloud solutions. One is called the Adobe Creative Cloud, which primarily caters to all our creative people across industries, digital marketing agencies, marketing firms, design companies who create campaigns. All our multimedia campaigns that we are seeing on social media, Instagram, all this is done by our tools called Creative Cloud. The most famous tools are Photoshop, Illustrator, all of them are part of our Creative Cloud. This has been one of our flagship solutions why Adobe exists other than the PDF. So a lot of people will not know about it. This is just a curtain raiser for you to know that we are the main providers of creative solutions across the globe, and this is one of the key solution areas for us. And the other one, what you know, is the Acrobat PDF, which comes under the Document Cloud solution. Here, Acrobat, all of us know Reader. There is an Acrobat Editor where we have a completely secure document management solution. And most importantly, for people in the small and medium businesses, we do have an e-signature solution called Acrobat e-sign, which I'll be talking later, which is integrated with Aadhaar for India. We made it for India from India. It's been built in India for India by our developers in Noida and Bangalore. It is completely integrated with Aadhaar. This is the first time Adobe has done a product development for a country-specific need. That was for India. So that's about the Document Cloud. And the last one is the Experience Cloud. Basically, we have a third cloud solution where we have solutions to map customer journey. When we are talking about customer journey in the digital experiences, customers are reached out, as I just mentioned, that how do you reach to a customer in a B2B or B2C environment. So basically people are doing digital marketing in general parlance. How do you reach to the customers with various personalized campaigns? How do you build campaign? How do you ensure that the campaign is reaching the right audience and that campaign is effective, and you analyze the campaign using Adobe Analytics. The third one is all about customer experience, where we actually help customers, large, small and medium businesses, to ensure that they are meeting their customers in a more efficient digital way. So Creative Cloud, basically, as I told you, there are a bunch of tools which help designers to design various things. We have also tools which will help media and entertainment business. All are, Telugu film industry. There are big, production houses based out of Hyderabad. They compete with worldwide production houses based on our technology. I am proud to say that Annapurna Studios is one among them, wherein they are actually at the league of competing with Hollywood production houses because they adopt the technologies that are coming up. When I'm talking about adoption, they have been doing this business for decades. But what is that they're doing different, which is a learning for all of us, is basically they are adopting to the latest AI-based technologies. I'll simplify this AI in a very, very simple form. This AI is not a very, very difficult thing. It is going to make life easy and it will increase your productivity. When I mean productivity, what used to take a designer or a video designer 3 days to come out with a small output, now he can do it in 3 hours. That's what AI does. And that's the same thing the same AI can do for your business as well. If you're doing documentation and you're reading legal documents, for example, and you have to come out with a summary of the legal document. I've been dealing with a lot of law firms in Mumbai and in Delhi. All of them read a lot of documents. They have to go through hundreds of documents and summarize and come up with key points so that they are better prepared for their discussions. So AI helps you in summarizing documents. AI is infused in every solution of Acrobat, every solution of Photoshop and Creative Cloud, and this is going to be the future, whether we like it or not. We didn't want a lot of stuff, but which is on our way through the digital transformation. So AI is something which is started and it is going to take a long time, because what is safe? When we are talking, Adobe is the first company, again I'd like to share, we have started AI as an ethical company. Ranjan sir, I'd like to share with you also. Basically, we are the only company where we are saying that we indemnify if you're using the AI solution given by Adobe. So if there is any infringement case that happens, Adobe protects you from that. Why are we able to do that? We are not allowing our AI, which runs on an LLM. The background engine of an AI is called LLM. All our LLMs are designed and trained on the data which we have a right to. We are not going and training them and asking them to fetch data from internet where we don't have a control. That way, Adobe is the only company which has been giving AI solutions with backed up indemnification agreement. So that makes our AI approach very ethical and very safe for any company, large, small and medium. You don't need to worry because AI is still very, very open. There are still rules getting formed as we are talking, but we can't stop ourselves from adopting to AI because that becomes a competitive edge to your competition if you are not doing that. Other things being, basically we are talking about, this is the set of tools. We do have tools for photography. A lot of our customers use our Photoshop, Lightroom, all these photography tools, design and layout. We have one of the main UX UI. If you understand these two words, software development, what you see on the screen is called user experience and user design. We are the leaders in that. Illustration, social media, we do have connectors. We have come up with a new solution called Adobe Express. These tools will require a lot of skills, but using an Adobe Express is a common man's use. You can download it on your mobile phone and start creating your own intuitive content that you can post personally on your own Facebook or Instagram and all. It happens in minutes. So, that way we are also present in something called as 3D and AR space with a lot of acquisitions in that space. We have acquired companies like Algorithmic, which is now called Substance 3D, which is a leader in that space, wherein all the 3D content used for any kind of multimedia development is a part of that. This is all completely bundled into one solution, and hence what we are talking about, creativity comes there. And creativity, as we are talking, 85% of the workers are using AI tools. 75% of enterprises are adopting to AI as we are talking. Any kind of AI is a experience. If you start using AI, whether it is provided by X company or Y company, you need to know that this is going to be the way of working. What you have been using, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all these years, has now been infused with AI. What Adobe Acrobat is there as an editor, it is infused with AI. Photoshop, AI. So what you will see is this whole sea wave coming and hitting us, unless until we get mentally ready, say that whether my company is a 30-year-old company or a 3-year-old company, we have to adopt to this and ensure that we take into the stride and ensure that our own team, it's not about the CEO of the company preaching it. We'll have to ensure that across that organization, this is made sure that people are exposed, and when you are asking your employees about a report, normally that report takes 3 days or 2 days. With AI, it should be much lesser. So the advantage of AI for a medium company is, how do you ensure that your productivity increases? How do you ensure that you are staying on top of a lot of insights that otherwise will not be coming, which will be an AI tool that will be providing? So as we talk about generative AI is new word, but AI has been there for a long time. All these companies have been, we do have an AI base called Sensei. Sensei has been there with Adobe for the last 15 years, which have been, the simplest thing is what prompts your completion of a search is an AI in Google. Similarly, when you're typing a mail, the next half of the statement is prompted. These are all nothing but AI which we have been part and parcel of. But what generative AI is doing is it's actually going and doing some kind of analysis on data available, and that's where the safety and the concerning business risks are coming out. That's what I was mentioning. Adobe's AI is a very, very safe AI model. We come after a lot of research. We don't rush to come out with our own AI product unless until we think it is safe for all our customers. The new Adobe Firefly, this is our brand of AI which we have launched. We just had our first anniversary for Adobe Firefly. Firefly is our indigenously built AI brand, and this is part of our all creative cloud solutions, and it is integrated with all our workflows. When we are talking about creative solutions, it is all about the workflow that goes through in that business. So when we're talking about Firefly, there are multiple use cases. The simplest is text to image. This is free for usage. All of you can try when you are having leisure. Firefly.adobe.com. Go there and type some text, and it will throw up an image based on the text. Now we have also come up with text to effects. If you pick up a photograph of your own and you want to apply some special effects onto that, that's called text to effects. And there are other very intricate things like generative fill. Generative fill is nothing but if you've seen this photograph, there is an ocean, but you want to fill a ship in between that. Normally, you want to put a ship. Normally, it had to take few hours of effort in Photoshop and Illustrator and all that. Generative fill automatically does it when you give it as a prompt. So this is the productivity increase. What I'm trying to give you, I'm sure a lot of people are not connected with that industry, but AI in general is going to give you productivity edge over what you have been doing with other IT tools till date. I'll just move fast on this. The other one is Adobe Express. This is nothing but our tool for everybody's creativity. Creativity doesn't need expertise, is what it is emerging out to be because of availability of internet, because of availability of mobile that is in everybody's hands, and everybody can try their own level of creativity using Adobe Express. It's very, very light. It is available on a mobile and a web browser. You can automatically create own content. This is again increasing the time to create a content and publish it. It could be a small pager, one pager that you want to publish on your LinkedIn or in your company website. For that, if you had to reach to your digital agency, You just think the entire process. You talk to them, give them the inputs, create that, and then they create it and give it you back, and you publish it. All this is few weeks or few days time. With this, small things can be done by people who are not normally called creative people. So Adobe Express comes in that parlance. That's all about creativity. When I'm talking about document cloud, this is where our most common solution. This is not specific to any industry. Every industry is using our Acrobat. We are the largest document format in the world. Every year there are 3 trillion documents which are getting opened on PDF as such. And why PDF? Just as a precursor, PDF is the most secure form of document where it cannot be edited, and if it is getting edited, it is known to the author. Basically, there is a trail that can be made out. And what is changing in business productivity is, all of us know document is the digital life of a business. Everybody is talking about moving to digital format, digital documentation, digitally creating documents and signing the documents. Soon there will be a lot of mandates coming in, because you already are seeing the GST regime where it is all digitally, you have to upload digitally. We'll be coming into a regime wherein all our income tax returns are already digital. Any documentation is going to be digital in our life, so with our business. So this is going to be very critical, and securing the digital document is the key thing. We all are aware about the present times wherein the risk of being online is so much high. The cyber crimes are so much going on. Every day there is a new thing. Before we wake up, there is something else which is born. So keeping our digital information secure, other than keeping our digital infrastructure secure, these two are two different things. Digital infrastructure security is all about having your antivirus, anti-spam, all the threat protections and all that, which is protecting from an internet and your perimeter, basically your office and your PC. But how are you ensuring the digital document is secure, and ensuring that it is wherever it is reaching to when you're exchanging, it is secure, when it is also tamper-proof and tamper-evident. So all this will lead to a regime wherein we are talking about solutions which not only create digital documents securely, but also ensure that they are staying secure. So create, collaborate, analyze, and archive and edit. This is the life cycle of a document, which normally happens in any business. So we actually not only help you to create the document securely and ensure that it is secure, but also collaborate. When we are talking about collaborate, we and Microsoft have been very close associates for the last many decades. If you are a Microsoft user, you're using Teams, you're using Office and Outlook kind of stuff, we are natively integrated into Microsoft, wherein you create a document, it will convert into a secure PDF. And also you collaborate on Teams, and Teams is known to everyone. Because of COVID, everybody have started using Teams. So on Teams, we can actually collaborate on our documents, co-author documents. When you're having one document between 3 or 4 people, everybody is using that. Co-authoring is an important function. Previously it is offline, people used to send it by mail, somebody will fill it up, and then it comes back, and all that is now possible. What is important, what is new is analyzing. A lot of us want to know, lots of documents are submitted to our companies, and we want to extract information. So we have a solution called API. We provide API solutions for all these features. If you want to create documents at scale, this is especially for startups who have SaaS platforms and all, wherein you want to create, like Policy Bazaar as an example. Policy Bazaar, when you go and buy a policy, it generates a policy on PDF, and it gets e-signature done by the authority. This cannot be done on a transactional level. It has to be done at a scale. All the people every day who are buying policies, that has to be done. And there's a new mandate from government of India last month, wherein all general government insurance policies, companies have to generate only on PDF, electronic policies. So soon we will see that all these documents will be coming into our companies, and we want to extract information. So we do provide API solutions to extract information from documents, not only PDF. This document can be a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or any other format. You want to extract. The simplest example is you're doing KYC. You're in a field of doing KYC, and you want to extract some information of age of the female applicants. So that's a field in the document. You want to extract that, that API service will extract that and give you across thousands and lakhs of documents. That way we are coming out with all the APIs which we can provide as a service to anybody who is interested in integrating. I'll just share you with, I'll share you some business use cases. We have completed a successful rollout with a sugar firm in UP. What they are doing is they have month-end invoices that are generated out of their ERP, Oracle ERP, which have to be seal signed by an authority. So lakhs, thousands of documents generated in 2 days. And it can impossible for anybody to get it signed or put even manually. So we have put a seal sign API wherein all these documents are authenticated, electronically signed and sealed also. The company seal is also a part of the solution. So this is an API which is automation. So I'm just trying to differentiate the AI with automation. Automation is very, very simple, very rudimentary. I would really love all MSMEs to adopt to automation first before going to AI. Because for automation also you need some readiness, some data, some processes in place. Automation will not ask you for change of process. AI might ask you for change of process. I am just trying to open the door for AI through automation first, like doing what I just told, invoice automation, generating documents automation, getting extracted information into a feed for you. All this is possible when you are adopting to latest technology. This is all available today, proven, and it is all safe. Again, I'm putting the safety part in picture so that you people are not thinking about that. So again, coming to the summary of that, we do have the solutions for entire experience with AI, without AI. It is available on mobile, on any device, on web. Data protection and compliance, we follow all government compliances because we host your data on data centers. It has to be compliant and ensure that it is compliant with all kinds of compliance rules. The last one is very important, document automation, wherein I see personally that there is a lot of productivity automation gain for MSMEs, and that will take you to the next league wherein with the same number of people, how are you able to address the 3x, 4x, 5x growth that you are planning? Because you people will grow much, much faster than a traditional enterprise because your low base is there, the digital adoption is there, so much of focus and, help from the government is happening on MSMEs. All this will lead to an accelerated growth, and in accelerated growth, it cannot be that you can keep on adding people. Automation is the only way for you to grow at the speed of the potential that you can grow and ensure that you are also following that. So document automation is a very, very important thing. So in summary, I'd like to say that we have an entire integrated secure PDF and e-signature solution. Again, e-signature I have not talked in depth because it's a part and parcel of our document solution. Every e-signature that we are talking about is Aadhaar authenticated also. So Government of India is accepting that, and we don't store the data outside India. The data is also stored in India so that we are complying with the needs. So I'll just skip this. So document workflow, these are all the typical use cases for you to understand where all these solutions can fit in. A legal department, a finance, sales contracts, all these are ongoing thing. If you have volume of data that is coming in, procurement, marketing is a key thing. So whether it is supply chain, HR, rolling out offers, signing employment contracts, everything can be done using our solution and in an automated way. So at a broad level, these are the benefits organizations have been reaping across different sizes, creating assets faster, increasing employee satisfaction, accelerating project delivery, which is actually a straight hit to your bottom line. And this is all not a rip and replace solution. We are not asking you to throw away your existing solution. This solution is an addendum. It integrates with your standard Microsoft solutions and others. So there is nothing called we are asking you to throw away old solutions. And most importantly, we are giving a huge benefit to your business workflows, which can be much faster and increasing your overall cost efficiency. With that, I'd like to thank once again for giving this opportunity to talk to all of you, and more than happy to take any questions, please. Overtime? Extra time? Anybody, any question, whether it's related to Adobe, not Adobe, doesn't matter.
Well, you talk about AI to MSMEs or SMEs or micro enterprises. I don't know what is the relevance of it today. It may take years for the micro enterprises to adopt total digitalization and get into AI. Anyway, I will read out what the Prime Minister of India said about AI to Bill Gates. He told Bill Gates, he highlighted the need for AI to complement human effort rather than replace it. In my opinion, the game being played by the top technology companies in the world to rush for AI solutions all over the world, rather, pushing every company to think about AI. I don't know whether it is right at this stage. India, the jobless rate is very high. Prime Minister himself has told Bill Gates, we have to take care of job loss which may occur on account of AI. So we need to be cautious and careful in adopting the so-called digitalization, the so-called artificial intelligence or whatever. These are mostly the top 10 players in USA or Western world. It is all their strategy. We have to be circumspect. We have to take appropriate technology for our country, our citizens. 90% of the people do not know what is AI in India. But the 10% of the people keep on talking about AI every forum, everywhere. They are trying to create a panic in the minds of the people that AI will be the future. We are living thousands of years in this world. You mean to say we can't live without AI? Sorry, I can't understand. And first of all, I don't understand how you will implement in AI with a man having a turnover of 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, micro enterprise. His focus is different. His problems are different. His problem is not technology, the so-called AI. This is my view. I'm in renewable energy business. I know AI
Sir,
can do only certain things.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'd like you to please cut it short and maybe...
Right, fine. But fact of the matter is, the AI game is going on all over the world. That's what I want to say.
Right.
We agree with you, sir. And it is not that we are pushing AI to every company. Every company needs to judge on their own capability to adopt to any technology change. The only thing what we want to keep on telling, because everything will not land today. As you said rightly, internet started in the year of 2000.com. Now we are, after 10 years, 15 years, still we are seeing that people are adopting. So AI is also a journey which is starting now. It is not a mandate. With all our solutions are without AI also available, which have been for the last 40 years. It will continue to be there without AI, number one. Number two, how will AI be beneficial for a very small 20 or 2 crore company or 3 crore company? AI is not an animal which nobody needs to understand. It is a way of working. If there is something, if it can tell you by itself, rather than you going through 10 pages, that is an AI outcome. You are not asked to understand what runs behind that. It is just an convenience to make your work life much easier. If you want to do that, you can just avail at a very, very rudimentary level. Otherwise, the traditional level methods are always open. Third thing, as MSMEs, I feel personally, with my limited experience of 25 years selling software, adoption of technology is one of the biggest barriers to compete globally. When we are talking about a market which is opening up globally, anybody can go and bid for a tender anywhere in the world, want to do that. adoption of technology is the barrier, and we are here to ensure that we educate them, and the decision is always with the entrepreneur. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? Maybe we could take up one more question.
It's very interesting, sir. I would like to ask you is there any collaboration, like, we are associations working in rural areas also.
Right.
We would like to enhance the knowledge of our women who can do wonders if they adopt to the new latest technology. And the policy of our state or central government is also to enhance the knowledge. How can we collaborate with you?
That's a very important question when we are talking about at a scale across the country. We do have a separate team which talks to policymakers and government. When I'm talking government, it is all education specifically. We are very, very invested in ensuring that our efforts to reach out to the so-called community which cannot afford to otherwise buy these solutions or get trained is an ongoing. We keep teaching K-12 and below. We have completed some big number of students training every quarter. We keep doing that, and I'm more than happy to connect you with our education leader who actually spearheads this, which is more of a non-commercial way of our approach to India.
Mr. Suman, your presentation is very good. Thanks to you. And what I could see is for this ERPs, your advice actually, if they have this Adobe license, whatever documentation, can I have your view? What is your recommendation for large-scale organizations and small-scale organizations or SMEs from the adoption point of view, please?
So when it comes to ERP, sir, I've been in that world before in my past life with SAP and Oracle. And fortunately, I've been handling this segment only. There is an enterprise, there is a small and medium business. I've been doing only small and medium enterprise for the last 25 years. So adopting to an ERP for a small, medium enterprise is a very tricky thing, because what you expect, ERP gives it's a very big engine, it's a white elephant, it comes with hundreds of capabilities in one go. So it is very difficult for a small and medium, they will have to prioritize as a journey of adopting the ERP. First one is MRP, then finance, then supply chain in their own way, and come up with a plan to adopt to that, number one. When we're talking about Adobe integrating with that, Adobe integrates at a very basic level, e-signature for all important documents, and any document which are coming in, which can be part of, because you have to take data into ERP. Nowadays, it's not about just generating data internally. A lot of external documents are coming and joining your ERP systems through various collateral information. So all that has to be analyzed, where extraction comes in. So API will make that extraction. I'll take an example of a Hyderabad company, I'll not name it, but they process per day 3.5 lakh documents. And their job is to ensure that they analyze the credit of that person, credit worthiness of a person, to make sure that the loans are given to the right person. So if you have to process 3.5 lakh documents and come up with a meaningful information which only they know, we don't decide what they want. Extract becomes an important thing across 3.5 lakh documents per day to give them the right inputs from the acquired documents and analyze, and then put it in front of, and then fed into the risk analysis platform, which is a separate platform. So to ensure that the gap between the document analysis and the platform, our solution is a bridge.
Thank you.
But micro SMEs and SMEs will have to adopt to what is available in the ERP first and consume that, because they have spent substantial amount for deploying that ERP. Unless until they take value out of that, going for any ancillary solutions is an extra burden for them.
So
Okay.
with this, I think we could close our session for now, and our speakers are going to be here for networking lunch. So if you have any more questions, you could ask at that point of time. Thank you so much,
Thank you very much.
Shobhan sir. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So now that we're moving towards the fag end of our event for today, so we'd resume in the next couple of minutes with a panel discussion. So just give us 2 minutes before we start. I would also request you all to please put your hands together as I welcome each of our panelists on the stage. I would request Ms. K. Rama Devi, Founder and President, Association of Lady Entrepreneurs of India, to please join us on the dais. Let's have a round of applause going, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Abhay Igor, Chief Technology Officer and Co-Founder, Dhruva Space, Hyderabad. Mr. Prem Kumar Vislavat, CEO, Marut Drones. Mr. Mani Vajpayee, Founder and CEO, Banyan Nation. Let's have one huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone who's here on the dais. And over to you, Ashish.
I know it's taking long, but thank you very much. Well, we are now heading towards the last leg of our session today, and it's the panel discussion. As you can see the topic behind me, India's high-tech industry, how Hyderabad can lead from the front. For this we have on our panel, I'll start from my extreme left, Abhay Gaur, his Chief Technology Officer and Co-Founder, Dhruva Space. Then we have Prem Kumar Vislavat, CEO, Marut Drones. To my right is K. Ramadevi, Founder and President, Association of Lady Entrepreneurs of India, LEAP. And last one in our panel is Mr. Mani. Mr. Mani is Co-Founder and CEO, Banyan Nation. Now, without wasting any more time, we'll start with the panel discussion. I'll just start with a common question to all of you. I'll start with Abhay. Abhay, is a common question to you. My first question is, what's your view on the current high-tech industry landscape in Hyderabad? I wanted to know, apart from this, what I wanted to know is, what is working for it and what can further be improved?
Right. Thank you, Ashish, for having me on the panel. Hello, everyone. I think MSR during his talk briefly touched upon this topic as well. I think what we today as startups work on, or are taking advantage of the ecosystem, is something that has been in existence for quite some time. And from that perspective, I think Hyderabad as a city has been blessed with quite a lot of central institutions, largely very large defense establishments. If you see something like RCI, ECIL, DLRL, etc., which what happened because of the presence of these industries is that there is an extremely rich ecosystem of high-tech MSME companies that are spread across the city. For example, literally 5 to 10 minutes away from where we are sitting today is one of the very large industrial hubs where, in fact, we leverage that for manufacturing of our own, satellites that we build. So that ecosystem is something that we, rely upon, and more importantly, we also work together now with them to ensure that they adhere to certain standards and conform to certain global standards as we go out and sell our products to the global market. So that's what actually, helps a lot for a company like such as ourselves, which do have a very huge dependence on manufacturing cluster, to, rely on that and reduce our capex or, capital investment that would be otherwise required for me to invest within the company and then start building products. So that definitely gives us that fillip. That's, I would say, keeping it short with respect to what is there right now. Down the line going forward, I think in terms of what would be a wish list, I think we've done some really good steps towards that direction by setting up some of the largest prototyping centers here, which today are acting like a catalyst where if I do have a product or an idea in mind, I can just walk in and come out with a product. And we have been one of the benefactors of such an ecosystem in the last few years. And if that was probably there 10 years back, I think a lot more, such hardware companies could have, benefited. So that's something that we started at a prototyping level, but scaling it up to having a very large common infrastructure pool, be it for specialized testing services. Again, I'll be able to talk about my particular industry. Say today, if I, as a space company, wants to test some of my devices, Today, there is no facility outside of ISRO's facilities where I can go out and test. So having those kind of facilities available in a greater availability form factor would be something that will help us prototype and manufacture faster. So that's something we're working together with regulators, and we hope to move forward on that.
Okay, fair enough. Prem, what is your take on this?
The space where we are operating and many of the applications have just started from Hyderabad, what we see. The space where we see drones were looked up like what you see if someone carries AK-47 in public space. Similar space when someone says I have a drone in 2016, 2017 to the space now in 2024 where people feel it's a very useful and very important the missions. And in the city of Hyderabad, because of thanks to the state governments where they're very progressive for sure is because when we started our first use case, not many know, is the first use case which we built was on the dengue malaria. We drastically brought dengue cases of 20,000 to less than 400 or 18,000 malaria cases to less than 500 with the drone, IoT, analytical platforms together. And similar like this, we have created more applications. It can be reforestation, delivery, because the biggest problem of the drone space is I can build a drone, but where do I test? So we were testing in the lakes or the places where little far away and everything. Still we have this challenge where we see, and the regulatory space has been very highly regulated space, DGCA as a thing. So, but we have seen the first, the drone, it's called BVLS. Yes, drone has gone to a place which is not seen, delivered something and came back. The first delivery happened in the country was in Vikarabad, which has happened in 2022 here. So there are many such, the first use cases have created here and expanded to different states in India. And in India, if drone applications, something as a think of like surveillance, reforestation, delivery, people recollect still Telangana and Hyderabad because it's initiated from here, scaled to other places. And the best part is the talent pool. Today, why people are coming towards Hyderabad is because the talent pool, the engineering colleges, all the young, you have computer science, electronics, mechanical, all these people can be molded, adopted to the sector where we are in drones. And because you don't have ready-made drone engineer or drone pilot, the existing talent pool which are there are coming towards this industry and creating all these wonders, what we see.
Any improvements you are looking at? Further improvements?
So definitely we have requested for a more of a testing facility where if I have to test a drone which has to send for 100 kilometers, I don't have place today. So those first things. Second is the PLI for design, because there's a PLI for manufacturing. So we have been asking for PLI for design, and also indigenization. Like basically the space has just started year to second year. This is what we could see after regulation, and we see a lot of components, indigenization, like how automobile has all the components industries nearby, and defense has a lot of component industries here. Similarly, we see certain push towards indigenization and everything. And I see a lot of institutions here, DRDOs or ICR institutions. Thanks to previous governments, they brought a lot of labs to Hyderabad. So definitely industry and academia collaboration can bring a lot of stuff. And the proactive push from simplifying the regulatory space by the governments, it can be state or central, could foster the innovation little faster. And rather importing, we will be exporting from Hyderabad, from India is what we could see.
Great. Ma'am, coming to you, what's your answer for this? And it would be keenly listened to because you are veteran in the field, amongst all of us sitting here. What do you want to bring in?
Thanks for giving me this opportunity, and let me tell you that I have been in the industry since 40 years, and I have seen real change last 10 years happening. Maybe due to the whole global change in bringing prominence to the IT sector, and also particularly coming to Hyderabad, what is happening. 10 years back, it was, we never knew about IT also. And the investments were also very low. And there is, even our GDP was low, 1.12 or something, which is very less than the average any state. The policy of the government, they took off. And one thing we felt, as an MSME industry also, a lot of infrastructure roadblocks were created. Like we didn't get power, proper power was not available, infrastructure, connectivity was not there. So these are roadblocks which, any investor hesitates to come to the state. So during the new government, the policy is such that, the government has taken over and there is a central government which was putting importance to the infrastructure. Connectivity was established and focus was on building up startups and also focus on bringing agri entrepreneurs also. So these resulted in, when you have even the construction activity picked up in our Hyderabad. So all this resulted once when your GDP is growing and per capita income is going, the investors are ready to invest in this state of Telangana, particularly in Hyderabad. That took off in a big way. 20,000 crores was invested in this Hyderabad. And the construction activity has taken up and there is no unemployment. There's a lot of, more than 60,000 people are employed. So all this resulted in a very, what I can say is an accelerated growth for all sectors, IT, MSMEs, and also large industry. Particularly the sectors of pharma, agri, all took off in a big way. So this resulted in need for even IT to showcase. So I think most important is the will of the government and the policy of the government and certain interventions which they took, like ease of doing business through, by bringing TSI pass, attracted a lot of investors also. So this is what is Hyderabad now. A new government is coming. They have a lot of promises also. We are looking forward to more collaborations, more acceleration programs, particularly for women and Tier 2 and Tier 3, where a lot of enthusiasm is picked up.
Okay. Fair enough. Mani, now coming to you. You are totally from the totally different industry from the people here, I guess, and it's a very important industry in a sense. We'll talk in detail later about that. Same question coming to you. How do you answer to this?
Thanks for the opportunity to be here. My co-panelists have actually given a very good account of the evolution of the technology and the policies in the state of Telangana. So I run a plastics recycling company, and it's called Banyan Nation. Back when we started in 2013 and 14, the word technology and plastic recycling weren't used in the same sentence in India. Today, when you talk about plastic recycling, there's a heavy use of image processing and AI, particularly to the gentleman who earlier referred to the use of technology in MSMEs. So artificial intelligence, particularly image recognition, is helping a lot of these plastic recycling startups to segregate and sort the materials that were previously not segregated and sorted by the informal sector aggregators. The second thing that we've seen in the last 10 years is there's a lot of digital platforms that have come about to integrate the informal recyclers. The analogy that I would like to give is, in the 1970s, milk was handled by very small milk farmers. However, India developed a milk cooperative model to aggregate and integrate the milk farmers. The same sort of revolution is happening in plastic recycling, where kabadiwalas, bhandiwalas and raddiwalas are being integrated through digital platforms, where they're able to trade more and more materials and feed into recyclers such as Banyan Nation. And last but not the least, there's a lot of polymer science and technology, like Prem mentioned, the availability of good institutions, whether it is Osmani University or whether it is CIPET, allows us to hire polymer scientists, and today we have a state-of-the-art plastics and polymer testing lab. So not just digital technology, but also innovations in plastic recycling, inclusion of testing facilities. I mean, you guys have a real concern in drone testing. We have a real concern in polymer quality testing. So we had to invest heavily in gas chromatography, calorimetry, and gravimetry. And there's a sea change, really, as ma'am was saying, in the last 10 years. It's not the same place where we've started our companies from. But I think the panel has already given a fantastic account, so there's not really nothing much for me to add here.
So I should take it like this, that is getting better.
No, obviously. I mean, things are always progressing forward, and things can always be even better. But
There is also always a scope for improvement.
that's right. Yeah, we're always constantly improving as humans and as industries. So that's a given.
At least we are on the right path.
Yeah, we're on the right path, I think. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Abhay, now I'll come to you. In fact, I will come to you one by one, and we'll discuss about your own industry. I'll start with you, Abhay. Since you come from aerospace manufacturing, we have seen India coming a long way in aerospace manufacturing, particularly Hyderabad and Telangana. It's very interesting to know that. So I just wanted to know, what are the factors that are driving aerospace manufacturing and space tech, particularly in Telangana and Hyderabad?
I think pretty much in continuation to what I mentioned, I think one of the biggest factor has been an already existing ecosystem of MSMEs, thanks to the presence of labs that were there. And coupled with that, you also actually have quite a lot of global presence or global companies that had set up shop here. For example, Hyderabad is also home to Tata Lockheed Martin facility, where a lot of components within the aerospace domain are manufactured. Similarly, Tata Sikorsky is one other facility that has its presence here. In addition to that, we also have a really good set of talent access, and this is not particularly necessarily only for Hyderabad, but also in general across in India, where especially in the space sector, when we go out for conferences across the globe and mention that, hey, we are located in India or we are present in Hyderabad, etc. I think the kind of reception that we get with just purely by the fact of some of the accomplishments of ISRO and the various labs of ISRO has been simply exceptional, and they genuinely believe that we have what it needs to build a space mission, and we have demonstrated it time and again. And what is there behind the success of some of these missions, like you have your Chandrayaan mission, now an upcoming Gaganyaan mission, etc., is that it's in addition to the work of the labs, it's also the work of various MSMEs.
That I wanted to know. How is Telangana, Hyderabad is maintaining that kind of infrastructure? How did we gain that in the past so many years? Of course, we have seen different cities trying for that thing, but Telangana is leading from the front now. Absolutely. How did we manage with that infrastructure?
I think at some level, proactive policies of continuous governments definitely helped over there, because today, if you look at even the access to capital that we need is coming in right now after demonstrating certain successes.
Is it fairly easy? The investment that we need is coming easy compared to...
Now post-pandemic, I would say it's a lot more easier, and that is now happening because we've been at least able to demonstrate certain success and being able to have that 0 to 1. And over there, having access to this already existing infrastructure and ability to demonstrate something with very minimal investment that is needed, I think that allows you to move from 0 to 1, that kind of a journey in a much faster way. And the valley of death, as you call it, where you tend to, expire your capital and then you collapse. So that possibility is slightly now reducing because you're not very capitally intensive, right, to begin with, if you have the necessary infrastructure and access to those kind of facilities. And I think that is what is now accelerating certain growth, especially in these certain industries like, your biotech or even space for that matter, where the gestation periods for your projects is much longer,
yeah.
and they're a lot more deep tech. So it's not something that you can probably validate in 6 months or 12 months or so.
That means the success rate of the startups in this particular industry is now getting up.
Yes, absolutely.
That is what you wanted to say.
Yeah.
Right, fine. Okay. Prem, now coming to you, since I wanted to mention that in my fireside chat with MSR, you are doing something right, I guess, because he mentioned him a couple of times. That means you are doing something right? So that comes as a praise to you. He agrees, I guess. You don't agree?
We are doing it. So we have survived for 5 years, means we did something good, I feel.
Something good, because he mentioned you a couple of times. That itself means something. Anyways, since you are into the drone industry, I wanted to know how is, first of all, Hyderabad placed in the drone industry, though you mentioned, partially you mentioned it in the, earlier you mentioned. Also, I wanted to know, does India's drone policy do enough to push drone technology?
So, whenever we listen about drones, we've been listening from many years on the defense side, like Rafale or any of the big news you see, like military has been buying some thousands of crores of drones from Israel and everything, right? So, drones can do more than defense. It has proved in India is from Hyderabad. That in civilian space, agri if I take. So everybody know now drones are used for spraying, pesticide, insecticide, herbicides, or any kind of a liquid form. Why it has become important is because if you see a present scenario in agriculture, if you see, aging of labor or farmer is gone more than 45, 50 years. Younger crowd like my age are not in agriculture directly, first. Second is, if someone asks me, say, carry some 20 kgs, 30 kg and work for entire 5 hours, 6 hours in a day in a sun, I might not work, but still people are doing it. And that's why you see today the export of rice is stopped, is because the production itself is not enough for the Indians which are in the country. And the problems in agri is not just a spray, we've realized soon. So that's where we see last 5 years went into building more applications. Like one of the disruptive applications is a transplantation. So whenever you see in agriculture, they do nursery and they do transplant, like women manually does and everything, right? The entire exercise, what they were doing for 20, 25 days is cut down to 1 day with the introduction of a drone. That's because today the rainfalls are delayed and people don't have those much of like working force in rural areas. Like post-COVID, all the Orissa, Bihar, a lot of people who used to work in, at least in southern states, have left. So the introduction of technology has become mandatory. So if you see in our journey, so our company started solving a problem, but eventually we saw the problem is not just the problem of one locality or something. So we saw, then we started exploring the sectors. So, and in India, drone is a very new when it comes in 2016, 17, 18, right? So the only customer is the government, where you see, because he will be the first customer, right? And everybody thinks, why can't you build a drone for defense? But we thought, why can't we build the applications which are needed for every day for simplifying it? It can be for public health, it can be for agriculture or reforestation, or sending simple medicine when someone has a snake bite in a rural area. Because today, or sending a blood when someone, pregnant woman joins in any PHCs or any community health center in tier 2, tier 3 places in Adilabad or some other places, getting them to a district hospital itself takes 2-3 hours. And the rate of deaths is higher, which you see. So then we started building applications, and you see today you listen every day in news, like drone is sending a medicine, drone is doing some plantation, drone is doing certain application like surveillance activities and everything. All these 5-6 applications have started from Hyderabad, seeded in Hyderabad and scaled to other states. So to start that, when we had reached out to any of the government officials, like Jayesh sir was very helpful for us, because to fly a drone on any of a lake, there are a lot of laws and a lot of restrictions. So you can't, and suddenly we get a letter from an NGO saying that you're releasing something in air and the biodiversity, these and a lot of things. Then we went into scientific trials. The Agri University was very helpful to us. So something which I'm using equipment in agriculture, someone has to quantify it, right? Whether it's useful, like the easiest math I'll tell you, normally they use 100 liters per acre. With the drone, it has become 8 to 10 liters. So 80% reduction of water is happening. If I go and say to any farmer, he is so intelligent, within 5 seconds he'll say, useless argument, this is because I'm doing, my forefather is doing agriculture, I'm doing this from 30 years. But he believes the agri-scientist who validates it, does for certain years and gives the data generated on terms of cost, time or efforts and everything. So that the exercise has entire from 2018 to 2021 has happened in Telangana with Agri University worked. Because of that, 2 things have come. One, the capacity building. In rural areas, now the capacity building on a drones is happening in regional languages. It's happening in Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, because of the agriculture, and also it's a rural kind of application. Second is, the Prime Minister got fascinated with this technology, how it's creating employment in rural areas, like how Ola Uber could bring people to urban cities and made them to earn at least 50,000-60,000 per month. Similarly, in rural areas, by training less than 10 days, from 11th day they could earn a monthly 50,000-60,000. It's happening with this technology. And what he has also brought it is because of the August 15th, his address was, he wants to make Lakpati Didis and everything, right? So as a 15,000 self-help women will be trained and given. As a first, they've seen with 1,000 people and they've given drones. So women who was earning 500, 600 per day is earning 5,000, 6,000 today. You could see the shift. And we could see the shift coming. People have come to Hyderabad from Bihar, UP, different parts of the country to learn, and they went back and they're implementing it and this technology. That's because not every technology can solve the problem of Tier 2, but this technology took the technology to Tier 2, Tier 3, and solving the end farmer's issue. That's the reason the agri space has become very little kicked up now, and every investors are coming forward towards agri space, and the farmer is seeing a value in it. Because the problem is, till now, all the agri-techs, IoT, sensors and everything, farmer is to fail. Those are technologies for his son who is in US, Australia, not for him. But today what is happening is, he has a farm, if he doesn't spray, there's a pest or disease, he could lose the crop. So this equipment is helping him. Within 48 hours, 24 hours, he could see the result. That's why he's believing this technology. So we could show that with lesser amount of time and easing his cost, time and everything, what we could see. That's the reason what we have built here has become example to in the country, and it's scaling to the remotest places of the country today.
Fine. Ma'am, I'll come to you now. Like Abhay and Prem mentioned about the scope that high-tech industry has and the skill set that he has and the kind of work they are doing. I wanted to understand from you, how are female entrepreneurs placed in Hyderabad's high-tech sector? And what is it like compared to other parts of the country?
When we think of, entrepreneurship, there is a great scope now for women's participation in entrepreneurship. It doesn't mean only entrepreneurship, but even getting into jobs, getting employment also. There is almost we have reached 35% I mean, women are into various activities like jobs in IT sector or pharma or any other sector, particularly from Hyderabad. The reason for it is maybe because now we are 50-50 in STEM related education. Women are 50% from STEM related education background. So the more women are aware of opportunities, and also the cost of living, and they want to get into the standard of living is making them compulsory also to get into some kind of income generation or employment is the scenario. What I can talk is with the advancement and also knowledge transfer happening, we are far better than other countries with related to education sphere, where US is very less and UK is also very less compared to our country. Women's participation in STEM related subjects. So, and the policy of the government today, I mean, the whole global policy is like inclusive growth. And also you have seen the last announcement for International Women's Day is invest in women, accelerate their growth, accelerate your growth. That is indicated to governments. So all the governments are very positive about women's participation. In fact, particularly from Ministry of MSME, if I can bring out, there is a 3% reservation for purchases from all PSUs, that public sector undertakings. If woman becomes an entrepreneur, she can sell to PSU. There is a 3% reservation, which assures a little bit of marketing support for her. So, and schemes like Mudra, schemes like Stand Up India, when we talk about finance access, are accelerating women's participation, because it's mandatory as per the RBI guidelines, women has to be included in every bank scheme. So there is, and a lot of knowledge with regards to technology. When we go to rural areas, the women are able to do through e-commerce platforms, they are able to sell, particularly during COVID time also. A lot of women, sitting at home, they are selling the product, food, or even decorative items, handicrafts, all these are sold through e-commerce platform. That is the knowledge transfer is happening, and in local languages it's happening. So they are able to take advantage. So the participation of women is increasing into economic activity. And one more aspect I would like to bring is, I represent startup incubator. There are 78 incubators in Hyderabad. 2 incubators are exclusive for women entrepreneurs. So one is Telangana VHub and Elite VHub. So these 2. And there is also a allocation of infrastructure, land. If women entrepreneur comes forward, in each industrial estate, there is an allocation of land for her to set up an MSME unit. So these kind of initiatives are kickstarting the movement of women entrepreneurship. And the role models like Kiran Majumdar and Suchitra Ella and Vani Kola of FinTech, they are all inspiring them to start. But I feel that they are unorganized sector. Women's participation into economic activity is way back, even when we can talk about history. They are there into economic activity. Even my grandmother or the older version also are participated. They used to earn something or other, but very unorganized. Now, Government of India is with a big plan like giving them recognition under Ujjami registration, enabling them to access credit, enabling them to go into the sphere of marketing through hand-holding support. All this is happening. And even state has got their own policy towards women empowerment. So I think there is a great change, and they are become the partners of this development.
Okay. Mani, coming to you now. Banyan Nation is among the pioneers in the country in terms of recycling and circular economy for plastics that we all know. We can proudly say that it has shown path to many others in the country in the same field. What I wanted to understand from you is, where do we stand in terms of recycling technology vis-a-vis to the world?
I'd say we'd rank very highly. As I mentioned earlier, in terms of pure recycling technology, every country is different. You can't take a Western technology and apply it to India in the same lens. For example, United States has a recycling and recovery rate of less than 10%. On the other hand, when you look at India, we recover and recycle over 60%. But when you walk on the streets of India, the perception is completely different. So the filth and the squalor makes us feel as if Indians don't recycle and the West recycles. It's the complete opposite. In the US, what happens is everything is mixed into a single bin, which is called a single stream recycling. And many of the recyclers find it very hard to separate the material, and as a result, they are employing what you'd call as the robotic sorters that use machine learning and artificial vision. And the reason they use that is because of the lack of human capital, because it's very expensive to segregate polymers. In India, on the other hand, we have thousands of informal sector aggregators and recyclers. Now, applying robotic sorters to the Indian context would render millions jobless. So I don't necessarily see America as being more advanced than India just because they have a bunch of robotic sorters. In India, there's today over 30 companies. I just give you some numbers. If you take water bottles, for example, all these water bottles that you are drinking water of today, India has a recycling rate of over 90%. The entire polyester industry in India, the garment industry in India, actually gets its raw materials from the polyester fiber generated from PET. We are the world leader in that space. When it comes to the shampoo bottles, lotion bottles, automotive components, India has been recycling that material for the past 30 years. Where Banyan Nation came in is that we moved 60% of these materials from low value applications such as buckets, tables, benches and chairs into the high value applications such as the shampoo bottles, the human contact and product contact realm. So our material today is US FDA approved. So for example, if you want to use recycled plastic in food packaging, that's possible. So these sort of technological advancements, what Banyan Nation has done is learn from the best in the world, brought in the relevant technologies to India, and while keeping the character of India and the requirement of India alive, we've applied those technologies. And that is why I like to use the analogy of milk, because in the past, India was a milk deficit nation. Today, India is the leading exporter and producer of milk. And we did not displace the milk farmers, rather we built milk cooperative models. Similarly, we need to do the same in plastic recycling, where AI and polymer technology and plastic recycling technology should be augmenting the workforce rather than displacing them. I think that's my take on how we look at the problem statement.
Fine. Okay, I will come. Now is the last leg of the questions. I want you people to just quickly answer my questions. I wanted to understand from you what kind of opportunities India can tap in terms of partnering with the global aerospace companies. What do you see about this?
Like I said, from the time where we were looking at domestic market or servicing the domestic needs, today, in fact, a good chunk of our market target or a target market is actually, in fact, global companies. So a lot of companies are, in fact, looking at, Dhruva Space or even any company in India to actually act as a capacity doubler for their own requirements. So that is obviously one of the cash cows or very good market segment where we can leverage the advantage of being present in Hyderabad or in India and service some of these global markets. That is the number one, or I would say the bottom chunk. Over and top of that, where we also see a good possibilities of collaboration is in fact collaborating together as a joint product development that can solve, some of the pain points within the industry. So for example, today we are partnering with some of the European companies and US companies to build the next generation of certain subsystems that go into various, satellite classes. And that as a whole industry, people are excited because one, we are reducing the cost of the product itself, which results in overall reduction of the satellite cost itself. Number two, the ability to produce in larger numbers also, because until now, if you had launched about 10,000 satellites till date, it is estimated that in the next decade, we are looking at almost 40 to 50,000 satellites being launched. And there is, the industry has to be ready to support that kind of scaling up. And so it doesn't just boil down to money factor or just the ability to manufacture them, but how you manufacture and how you draw an analogy from probably and how the transition came in within an automotive sector, apply the same logic within the space segment is actually happening. So these are some of the areas where we are already talking to various international companies and agencies, and we hope to start contributing back in the next few years for sure.
Okay, fine. Prem wanted to know from you what the best practices that we can learn from countries such as China and the US, which have already seen a considerable progress in the field of drones. Also wanted to know how much should come from the government and how much lies on the shoulders of the private sector.
The countries like China and US have definitely advanced this technology there. See, when it comes to the first important is the export aspect. They think it's not for their country to the world when they're building any product. It comes to China or to the US at present. So that's first thing is what we could see is the aspect which we have to learn, one thing. Second is the investment in the R&D. They do heavy investments in R&D first. And which we feel that has been the biggest gap in what we see today. Third is the collaboration. It can be between the private and companies or private and government companies. That at greater they do that. That's the reason the government frames a lot of incentives, a lot of subsidies, more for when they make any of these something disruptive, some new product innovation. And the capital access, it can be more of the funding. It's been 5 years for us. We've seen this journey of more of how the hardware startups have been looked up in India when compared to other countries. Other countries is very, very matured enough in terms of in China and US. Both the countries have a huge fund allocation for the more of the hardware companies or the new technologies like these drones and the prototyping centers like we have T-Works, but they have a bigger prototyping centers with bigger access to the machines when they've come up with the prototypes and everything. So those aspects. So these are the few things which we feel when we have to learn from this China and US what we see. When it comes to the depends on the government or the private and everything. So definitely the drone space in India is highly regulated space. They have been listening to us because of some drone has been coming from China, some drone is coming from Pakistan. They have to defend, right? So and all the people in the government, they don't understand this space yet. So they have to listen to the companies which are doing in this space. So that's the reason you see the drone rules. We've been actively participating think tanks into the participative in the drone rules which are framed. And the earlier we used for every fly we have to take a permissions. So when we go to local police, This is not my thing. Go and talk to they direct us to the commissioner. When we go to commissioner, they direct us to the DGP.
They're not sure where the...
They don't know this is whose responsibility is this. So the biggest disrupt activity they did is they've opened up the India map, except the borders, green, yellow and red zones. So they've made majority of the area in green zones. The yellow zones are restricted of height, and the more of red zone is all the defense and airports or any strategic kind of restrictive places there. With that, lot of companies in India have come forward, started building the technology so that they have a customer who don't need to seek a permission for every small thing. So those things, and so regulation and more of we have PLA for manufacturing at present, but we don't have PLA for subsidy, like for design or for any of the schemes have been announced at PR at a scale, but at implementation at a scale need to be done. And when it comes to the private, what we see is, once the regulatory space is simplified and certain incentives are there, it's our responsibility as a companies like private to collaborate even with the corporates which are in defense companies already, which are established, to work with them, build some product. It can be drones, anti-drones, and provide solutions to the customers which can be defense, non-defense is what we see.
Which is becoming a hurdle for their growth.
The female entrepreneurs' growth.
Yeah, female, male, whatever. One such issue is because we have 100 startups with our incubation. 50 of them have graduated, but getting in land and the cost and whatever they have to do after they leave the incubation is quite expensive. When we talk about power, quite expensive. When you talk about water, it's expensive. Your taxation is expensive. So how you become viable, how you become competitive in the global market is a big issue. This is the major hurdle for a startup. The whole ecosystem doesn't revolve around just finance. It has to be the other things. So that the government need to focus. According to me, if I'm in the position to give everything freely, they provide employment to the government and they provide revenue to the government. So that has to be taken care. Sustainability is an important issue. Just starting a startup is not, I know money here, they sustained, but with what kind of investment, what kind of, the effort they put, I know. So such startups are very rare, but we need to have at least 60 to 70% success stories. So coming to women entrepreneurs, a lot of schemes are there, but women ourselves feel that our responsibilities are with home. There is a restricted, attitude. Where, after even she's on the executive level, she quits her job when when home friend, they require her. That kind of mindset has not changed from Indian women. So that's one thing, attitude change need to be there. And when I say business, it should not be a single ownership business. It has to be a collaborative effort today to meet the overhead cost, to meet your global demand. Come together as a teamwork. All the startups, in that drone system also, they need to be a cluster. That becomes easy for you to get into the market. These are the three things which I feel is very important. And adopting technology is the need of the day. We have to, when we are not with a mobile, we know how difficult life was and how easy the life is now with a mobile. So that is what technology makes you. So every single entrepreneur needs to adopt technology. This is a need of support from government in this transformation to technology is required. Thank you.
Thank you. Mani, last question of the session to you. And you are solving the sustainability side of problems I mentioned. So I wanted to know what's the outlook for technology-driven recycling sector in India?
Sorry?
What's your outlook for the
outlook?
For your sector.
Yeah, I'm going to take 20 minutes. No, just kidding.
No,
I know I know you're waiting for lunch.
Okay.
Normally I speak for minimum 1 hour. So no. So the technology outlook looks very promising. And as I said, technology for the sake of technology is never going to get you anywhere. How can the technology aid and assist the company in delivering better value to the customers, number one, delivering a better product at a lower price point, and last but not the least, how is, as ma'am mentioned, the technology has to be an ecosystem enabler. When we talk about technology in the context of recycling, you need to really understand over 1 to 2 million informal aggregators are operating in India. So what sort of technologies, whether it is digital, mobile, or whether it is the plastic washing and segregation technologies. And Prem talked about the need for patient capital, particularly, so we'll find a zillion investors if you're talking about an asset-light exponential e-commerce market space. But when you talk about a rocket building technology, or when you're talking about drone or even plastic recycling machines, there's not many investors who actually have the technical chops to evaluate a technology for what it's worth. So there's a lot of learning that the investors themselves have to do. We have a fairly yet to mature investor ecosystem that only understand software when it comes to investing as well. There's a lot of challenges, but plastic recycling in the next 10 years is going to explode, primarily because the government has released an extended producer responsibility policy that makes the use of recycled plastic a mandatory thing starting next year. The only question in India, as we all know, is how well it would be implemented. And I'll leave you guys with that thought because I think there's food waiting outside. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. I guess we can take a couple of questions, if any. Sir.
One is plastic technology, new applications. I heard actually houses are built for 5 lakhs and they're coming out with some roads. In one of the meetings, somebody was actually sharing me. Can I know what are the new applications are you looking out of this technology?
Yeah, I'll try and answer it as briefly as possible, and we can have a chat post the discussion. Plastics is not plastics. What I mean by that is you can't use a generic blanket term like plastics for everything. Polymers is probably the most versatile innovations that man has ever come up with. When you're talking plastics, are you talking specifically about water bottles that today go into garments and fiber? Are you talking about non-recyclable materials like the gutka packets, kaini packets, or the sachets, which have multi-layer laminates with metal coating? For example, if you take the chips packets, Lay's, it has a yellow paint at the outside, polymer on the inside, and metal on the inside. Now that's a material you can't recycle. So they use that as a bitumen substitute for roads. So that's a suitable application. Now, when you're talking about using polymers for building houses, there's a lot of, again, are you talking about recycled polymers? Are you talking about virgin polymers? So there's a whole dimensionality in terms of the material applicability to the use case really at hand. So today, the most common use of plastics is packaging, where your food packets to your consumer products to, right? And the second application obviously is the transportation, where your entire car components and automotive components and even aeroplanes are made for plastics. Then you have the electronic segment. Electronics segments have brominated flame retardants. And that, when used for another application, can really cause disruptive side effects to your health because there's bromine in there. So it's a very complicated topic on the suitability of the material and the suitability of recycling to that particular application as well.
Hey, hi Mani.
Okay.
Very interesting space. And one question which is little, I don't need an answer, but is there any country, anywhere where these recycle units are available for communities? Because this whole recycling has to happen at the end user level. You know, consumer who is actually using the packaging should also feel responsible for that recycling path. You know, as a consumer at home, food packet comes. I should be having some knowledge. Like today India is matured enough because of the government's education. We have wet and dry segregated waste. This is big achievement as per me from coming from where we were. That's all because of education to the citizens of India. Similarly, there will be, if we have education from government, that little segregation happens at home and there's a community recycling unit of some kind of segregate that can go into a unit which is placed in every community like a waste bin at the end of the street, and that's the value chain takes off from there. Is there anything of that sort?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm not sure how many of you visited Korea, but in Korea, in these apartments, the oldest gentleman or the oldest lady is actually made responsible for the entire apartment complex recycling the plastic. They are expected to sit down and sift through their waste, and they actually segregate into more than 18 different individual constituents. So that's where community is working for them. Japan is even more crazier. They're actually segregated into 30 plus constituent elements at their home level as well. But to answer it very quickly, maybe you, Adobe and Banyan Nation could partner here. For example, when we sell our recycled plastic to Unilever, we actually give a QR code to Unilever where you as a consumer, if you can scan the QR code, for example, Surf Excel, Sunsilk, Tresem, it tells you exactly which neighborhood kabadiwala picked the plastic that was made by Banyan Nation and given to Unilever. So that watermark and QR code is also part of our technology stack that we have built. That's really what we do, which is you empower citizens to understand the local recycler who's actually picked after you. That's driving the circular value chain. And I think we should celebrate such stories more in India because we're a very unique country in that aspect.
I just want to add on, there's one startup who is incubated from our incubator, Spexy. They involved women to get the electronic waste. So all the housewives are ready to throw your computers now. So they, give them some amount also. So it's an income generation. So these things are happening as a best practices. We can take it forward.
I think now we could all connect over networking lunch. So let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our panelists and such valuable insights that they have shared. And with this, we come to the end of the Hyderabad edition of ET Make in India SME Regional Summit 2024 with Adobe as our associate partner. Thank you once again, all our esteemed speakers, our partners, and our participants who represent the thriving Telangana MSME ecosystem.